Chapter 404. Don't provoke me, but now you provoke me, I want you to die. Liao Yunguang was completely angry, his meridian swelled up, raising his strength to the peak. Since he could kill Ji Long, his cultivation must not be low. He must take this seriously, otherwise, he will suffer a setback. You want me to die? Do you think you are qualified? Yi Tianyun sneered. Teach them a lesson, it is a good thing to teach them how to behave, otherwise, if they go out and provoke others one day, it will not be as simple as a broken leg. Teach us how to behave, then I will teach you how to behave. Liao Yunguang said angrily, attack together. He signaled Su Jian to attack together. Su Jian's cultivation was not high, but if the two of them attacked together, it would more or less have some effect. 2 against 1, this doesn't seem fair. Yi Tianyun looked at the two rushing towards him and sneered. There is no such thing as fairness on the battlefield, childish. Liao Yunguang sneered. Both of them quickly took out their weapons and prepared to suppress Yi Tianyun. Is that so? Then I will also invite 2 helpers to play. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and he waved his hand, come out and get some fresh air. Immediately, 2 huge phantoms were summoned by him, a domineering aura fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. Dong, a heavy sound spread throughout the cave. They were scared by this aura and stepped back a few steps, staring at the scene in front of them, 2 giant dragons. One red and one black. The cultivation of the red dragon was at the peak of core transformation stage, and the cultivation of the black dragon was also not low. Under the cultivation of the black dragon, it had reached the 7th or 8th layer of core transformation stage. If this continued, the black dragon would become a void spirit stage divine beast. Mythological beasts. They were shocked, they did not expect that the other side would have 2 mythological beasts. Usually, if someone had 1 mythological beast, it would be a dream come true. Otherwise, they would not have set out to find the phoenix, but they did not find the phoenix, but found 2 giant dragons, and they did not belong to them. Since it's 2 against 1, I'll also call out 2 divine beasts to help out. That way, it'll be slightly more fair. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. There was no reason for him to do so. He just wanted them to come out for a breather so that he could ruthlessly torture them. Liao Yunguang was shocked speechless by his words. Was this a little fair? Fair my ass. Any one of the 2 divine beasts could easily crush them. How could they compete? How could they fight? They did not hesitate for long before they turned around and ran. However, how could Yi Tianyun allow them to escape? He ordered, kick them back. The 2 giant dragons quickly flew over and blocked the exit in the blink of an eye. They swung their thick dragon tails over, and their speed was so fast that it left after images. The 2 of them hurriedly stretched out their weapons to block. With a dang sound, the 2 of them flew out and rolled several times before stopping. Their weapons were all sent flying, and the area between their thumb and forefinger was dripping with blood. They were unable to withstand such a tyrannical strength. If it wasn't for Yi Tianyun telling the 2 giant dragons to be lenient, they would have been dead long ago. Yi Tianyun smiled as he walked over and said, want to leave? Do you think that's possible? Liao Yunguang crawled up from the ground with difficulty. His arm had already caved in. In the face of such a terrifying strength, he was unable to resist at all. He stood up with a distorted face. Panic crawled all over his face. He trembled as he knelt in front of Yi Tianyun and begged for mercy. This big brother, I beg you to let me go. I didn't mean to target you. My younger brother deserves to have his leg broken. As long as you let me go, I can go back and break my younger brother's other leg so that he can reflect on himself. He was afraid that Yi Tianyun would kill him. He did not want to die. He would rather break his younger brother's leg again than let himself die. In his heart, he cursed his younger brother countless times. He actually provoked such a pervert. A pervert with 2 giant dragons, how could he take revenge? This was completely courting death. Just now, you kept saying that you want me to die. Do you think that I will let you go now? Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes at him. Then go die for me. Suddenly, Liao Yunguang roared crazily. He immediately jumped up from the ground and used all his strength to strike towards Yi Tianyun. Layers of air waves rolled up a golden light and pierced towards Yi Tianyun. A scorching flame rose from Yi Tianyun's palm. Just like that, he firmly met Liao Yunguang's palm. Bang! Yi Tianyun did not move at all. Instead, it was Liao Yunguang who was sent flying. In terms of strength, Liao Yunguang was not on the same level as him. Ah ah ah! Suddenly, Liao Yunguang screamed miserably. A flame curled up from his arm and madly burned towards his arm. No matter how Liao Yunguang struck, he could not extinguish this flame. This is immortal fire, although it is not truly immortal, but ordinary methods cannot solve it at all. Immediately, he rushed towards the pool of water. At this time, he has turned into a man of fire, and with a bang sound, he jumped into the pool. But even if he fell into the pool, the flame continued to burn, and his screams turned into gulu gulu sound from the bottom of the pool. After a while, Liao Yunguang floated up to the surface. There was no sign of life. Ding! Successfully killed Liao Yunguang, gained 390. 000 EXP, 4600 crazy point, 150 SPS, obtained martial arts breaking palm, sweeping leg god. Obtained item recovery pill, 10. 000 EXP pill, 5 times EXP card. Immortal fire is really powerful after the upgrade. Yi Tianyun is very satisfied with the flame. After the upgrade, its power has increased a lot. It can easily burn a core transformation realm expert to death. The only one left is Su Jian. After he was hit, he was lying on the ground, shivering, and when he struggled to get up, his eyes were filled with fear. Don't kill me, I am willing to be your slave, I will never betray you. Su Jian kept begging for mercy. This kind of playboy is definitely not willing to die, not to mention he is the young master of Su family, his status is not low. Do you think I will let you live? Yi Tianyun walked towards Su Jian step by step. I know a secret, I found a phoenix companion crystal nearby. It is very likely that there is a phoenix nearby. Su Jian shouted and revealed his biggest secret. Phoenix? Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and the little phoenix appeared in his hand. You mean this one? Unfortunately, this is not a secret at all. I already obtained it. There is no need for you to tell me. This. Su Jian's eyes widened. There is really a phoenix nearby. Chapter 405. Su Jian was dumbfounded by this scene. He thought that the information about the phoenix would be his last hope. Who knew that the little phoenix had already fallen into Yi Tianyun's hands? This phoenix is really here. Su Jian was stunned for a moment, then immediately begged for mercy. I won't tell anyone. I just beg you to let me go. I will never cause trouble for you in the future. Do you think I will believe you? Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and 2 giant dragons pounced forward. Accompanied by a scream, Su Jian and Ji Long, who was lying on the side, were completely crushed to death, turning into a lot of experience points. Only dead people keep secrets. Yi Tianyun did not want to cause more trouble. If he let Su Jian go back, he would definitely tell everyone about everything. Since he had even released the giant dragons, it meant that he was going to kill them. He would definitely not let Su Jian live. Immediately after, Yi Tianyun took back all the pets, and after searching them, he used the immortal fire to destroy the corpses and completely burned them to ashes. It's almost time to leave here. This time's harvest is not small, and I even got a phoenix. I can take it back for my aunt to raise. Yi Tianyun smiled. The current little phoenix was too small, and it needed to be cultivated for a period of time. Otherwise, it would be too weak. After packing up, he quickly flew out of the passageway and headed outside. From the passage they came in, they found that this was indeed the inside of the mountain, and it was a very remote place, but they found it. Their luck was not bad. As long as they searched carefully, they would be able to find it. When he returned to the imperial capital, there was no change in the battle situation. The Heavenly Dragon imperial capital was as usual, and there was no big change. In fact, he did not leave for too long, at most half a day. Naturally, there would not be any change in the battle situation. If Prime Minister Long wanted to attack, he would need a lot of time to prepare. He would not attack immediately. This was undoubtedly too careless. As soon as he returned to the palace, Renjiro hurried over and said, "Brother, where did you go? I couldn't find you everywhere." "I'm going out to find some treasures." Yi Tianyun smiled mysteriously. Just as he was about to keep them in suspense, Renjiro grabbed him and dragged him towards the imperial hall. "Now is not the time to talk about such things. Big Brother has something important to announce. He has been waiting for you for a long time." Renjiro didn't care about what treasure he was talking about. She just led him outside. "Have you been waiting for me for a long time? What does this have to do with me?" Soon after, under Renjiro's lead, they walked out of the imperial court hall. Outside the imperial court hall, many ministers had already gathered. All of them were supporters of Renlongyi. Yi Tianyun looked around and saw that there were about 20 to 30 people. All of them were at the core transformation stage. These were the elders of the big families, or the patriarchs, and the ministers of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Below each of the ministers was actually a family's power. This meant that there were 20 to 30 representatives gathered here. That was how powerful the Heavenly Dragon Empire was. When dozens of second and third level forces gathered together, they would become a fourth level force. Among them, Yi Tianyun saw a familiar face. It was Hua Xieying. Hua Xieying followed Yi Tianyun to the imperial court hall. When they appeared, everyone's eyes were fixed on them. Their eyes were filled with impatience. They didn't welcome them at all. "Who is this brat? He hasn't come for so long, making us wait for so long, that's right. Where did he come from? He looks so young. Is he qualified? If he doesn't have the ability, I won't approve of him." One by one, the ministers expressed their dissatisfaction. Most of them were curious about Renlongyi's identity. "Big Brother Ren, what's going on?" Yi Tianyun felt a little embarrassed. He didn't think that he would be called. It seemed that he had missed something. "Where have you been?" Renlongyi smiled and asked. "I went out for a bit. I didn't expect that I would be called out here." Yi Tianyun felt helpless. "I didn't expect you to go out either." Renlongyi turned his head to look at the crowd and said, "He is my sworn brother. In the future, he will be the king of the Heavenly Dragon Empire." "What? A sworn brother of the great Emperor Ren?" They were immediately stunned. A king had said that he would do it, and his background was unknown. How could they be convinced? "Great Emperor, I do not object to you acknowledging your brother, but to casually accept the title of king is related to power. To be able to mobilize a large portion of the power of the entire Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital, to hand it over to him so casually, this is too casual." The minister who walked out was none other than the patriarch of the Su family, Su Wenlong. From his appearance, Yi Tianyun could tell that Su Fei was somewhat similar to him. It was obvious that they were father and son. "Yes, I also object. If you are unable to convince us, we will not approve of this king." Another minister walked out. They were loyal and devoted to Renlongyi, but that did not mean that they would all support Renlongyi's actions. After disappearing for so many years, he had just returned and was about to appoint Yi Tianyun as the king. This was too rash. Yi Tianyun was stunned at the sight. To make him a king, he really had to think it over and over again. The king's power was very great, even higher than Renjiro's. Other than them, everyone else expressed their opposition. Ren Longyi was not surprised by their objections. Anyone would be dissatisfied if they were to casually appoint an unknown person as the king. If you all object, then what do you have to do in order to agree with him? Ren Longyi said unhurriedly. We are not familiar with him at all, and we have not made any contributions. How can we convince the masses? Yes. And strength. Without strength, how could he sit in this position? If the great emperor does not have a reason to convince us, we will not agree. They all expressed their opposition. If there was no persuasion, of course, they would not allow Yi Tianyun to become the king. He saved me, is that enough? If it wasn't for him, I would not have been able to come out from the coiling dragon cave. Ren Longyi said lightly. Everyone was startled and immediately looked at Yi Tianyun in shock. They did not expect this young man to have such ability. But he does not have any prestige, he will not be able to convince the masses. There were still people who did not buy it. Saving people was one thing, but saving Ren Longyi was not enough to make him a king. The guard had also saved the princess, how could he become the prince's son-in-law? Ren Longyi frowned. It seemed that after a few years of not being here, his prestige had declined. Renjiro's beautiful eyes turned, immediately smiled at Yi Tianyun and said, Brother, use your ability to scare them. Ren Long looked at his sister curiously, not knowing what his sister wanted to do. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly and took a step forward. He reached out his hand, and a layer of protective shield instantly covered his body. The familiar heavenly dragon's power was released in all directions, and everyone was shocked by the power that he unleashed. Ren Long was shocked, because Renjiro did not tell Ren Long about this matter. Looking at the shocked expression of the crowd, Renjiro chuckled. This result seemed to be what she wanted to see. Strength was good, but it was not as shocking as this. Chapter 406. Brother Yi, you can control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon? Ren Long's eyes were filled with shock, and he immediately stood up from his throne, followed by ecstasy. As long as they were on the same side, being able to control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon was a great benefit to them as it meant that they would be able to release more power. The entire secret treasure of the heavenly dragon had a spiritual vein here, so there was no need to worry about the lack of spiritual power. The biggest problem was how to release the power of the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon. This is... Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and said. Because you were outside, I didn't tell you about it. I thought Jiro would tell me, but she didn't. Little sister, you. Ren Long glared at her. Such a big matter, yet she didn't say it out loud. I just wanted to tell you about it later. I didn't expect to say it here. This is our trump card. Who knew that these people didn't recognize Brother Yi's strength? Renjiro smiled. Many people gradually recovered from the shock. They didn't expect that someone who could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon would appear out of nowhere. They all knew the power of the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, so if one more person could use it, the power would be unimaginable. The most important thing was that there had always been a rule that whoever was recognized by the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon would become one of the successors. Even if they couldn't become the great emperor in the future, at least they could become a general. According to this situation, there is no problem for Yi Tianyun to become a king, and it is not a problem at all. This. Does he also have the blood of the Ren family? Yes, does he have the blood of the heavenly dragon? If that's the case, then I don't have any problem with him becoming a prince. They were a little speechless and didn't know what to say. They were guessing whether Yi Tianyun was a member of the Ren family or an illegitimate child. Perhaps he was an illegitimate child, or perhaps he was related to the Ren family. All along, only the Ren family could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, which was why they had such speculation. In any case, their opposition was basically gone. This was equivalent to a kind of recognition, which was more practical than any kind of meritorious deed. Because if he could control the secret treasure of the heavenly dragon, why would he worry about not making a contribution? Being able to control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure was already a great achievement. At that time, Renlong's contributions were not considered great, and he was much weaker than Long Zai. However, he was able to control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, which allowed him to successfully ascend to the throne of the great emperor. Things were just that casual. This was just like the spiritual king path. If one passed the test, one would become a spiritual king. If one didn't pass, no matter how powerful one's talent was, one could only be an elder and not a spiritual king. I wonder if Brother Yi is willing to become my heavenly dragon empire's king? Ren Long asked with a faint smile. Big Brother Ren, this is my honor. Of course, Yi Tianyun was very happy. Becoming a prince of the heavenly dragon empire was very beneficial to him. How could he not be happy? Then from today onwards, Brother Yi is the king of my heavenly dragon empire. The mansion in the north of the heavenly dragon imperial capital will be King Yi's residence. Ren Long immediately announced the reward. Other than giving him a title, he also gave him a residence. Greetings, King Yi. One by one, they shouted. Although they were somewhat helpless, they could only obey. The power was there, and the rules were there. They could only admit it. This matter has come to an end for the time being. Now that King Yi can control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, even if Prime Minister Long attacks us, we have a good chance of winning, at least we will be invincible. Ren Long said solemnly. One by one, the ministers became serious, and some of them were a little confused. Will Prime Minister Long really attack us? He is the uncle of the great emperor, how could he do such a thing? As for colluding with the Netherworld Empire, that is unlikely. Prime Minister Long is a famous butcher of the Netherworld Empire. He has killed too many invaders. Since they didn't have much evidence, they all felt that it wasn't very possible and were all skeptical. Feng Long and his 6 brothers are undoubtedly Prime Minister Long's people. Even if he did not collude with the Netherworld Empire, this is enough to sentence him to death. Nominally, he is my uncle, but we are not related by blood. Even if we are related by blood, he will not be able to escape the death penalty. Ren Long said in a cold voice. The ministers looked at each other in dismay. Feng Long's 6 brothers were really Prime Minister Long's capable subordinates. If they could do such a thing, it could only be said that there was no other way. When they continued to discuss, a guard rushed in from outside and shouted, "Not good! Not good! Not good! Prime Minister Long is leading an army. Among them is the Netherworld Empire's Imperial Preceptor." Everyone was shocked when they heard this. The Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire is here. Are you sure you are not mistaken? Ren Long asked. I am absolutely not mistaken. It is the Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire. There are several flags fluttering beside him. He is flying side by side with Prime Minister Long. Almost all of the armies are heading here, whether it's the Netherworld Empire or our Netherworld Empire, they're all heading here. The spy who reported the news was specialized in collecting intelligence, so naturally, he knew what the Imperial Preceptor looked like. This bastard really colluded with the Netherworld Empire. Prepare for battle. Ren Long said angrily. Yes, Prime Minister Long. The ministers shouted in unison. Their eyes were filled with anger. Their previous speculations had turned into anger. Originally, they had some hope for Prime Minister Long, but now it seemed that everything was an illusion. Prime Minister Long was a traitor. Let's go out of the city gate and wait for their arrival. Ren Long nodded and took the lead to fly out of the city. Yi Tianyun and Ren Zhiro flew out together with Ren Long. Soon, they reached the towering city wall of the imperial capital. When they looked into the distance, they could vaguely see a group of black dots flying towards them. There were a lot of experts coming towards them. It was obvious that the entire army was dispatched. This was a battle to the death. Either the Heavenly Dragon Imperial capital would fall, or Prime Minister Long would be completely defeated. Activate the Heavenly Dragon Grand Array. Ren Long began to mobilize the power of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. Soon, the entire Imperial capital began to shake. Rays of light emerged from the ground and quickly enveloped the entire Imperial capital, forming a thick protective shield that suddenly became impregnable and unbreakable. Brother Yi, I don't want to talk too much. This time, we will need your help to deal with these rebels. Ren Long said with his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Brother, have you forgotten about me? Renjiro said with a bright smile. Of course not, but Brother Yi has just joined our Heavenly Dragon Empire and we are already in such a predicament. If the Imperial capital really falls, Brother Yi, take my sister and run away. Ren Long said solemnly. Brother. Renjiro was just about to say something when Yi Tianyun interrupted. Chapter 407. It was undeniable that the Imperial Preceptor's strength was quite amazing. It could be said that the Imperial Preceptor was much stronger than them. However, they had the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, which could suppress the other party. Even if their side fell, they had to kill the other party. However, Yi Tianyun didn't think that he would lose. Seeing so many Heavenly Dragon's secret treasures, he would be able to gain a lot of experience points. If he killed all of them, his experience points would skyrocket. As long as he continued to break through, he wouldn't be afraid of the Imperial Preceptor. Yes, it's too early to say these words. Let them know that no matter how weak our Heavenly Dragon Empire is, it's not easy to deal with them. Ren Long's cultivation had dropped significantly. Even if Yi Tianyun replenished his blood qi with the blood jade, it would be too late for him to improve his cultivation. This was a problem that had plagued him for many years, causing his cultivation to decline. If he wanted to return to his original peak, he would need to cultivate for at least a few years before he could completely recover. At present, it seemed that their overall combat strength was relatively average. It could be said that they didn't have a single Void Spirit stage cultivator. However, there were a lot of core transformation stage cultivators and above. There were a lot of core transformation stage cultivators, but it was very difficult to reach Void Spirit stage. Even the Netherworld Empire only had a few Void Spirit stage cultivators. The main reason why they didn't have many Void Spirit stage cultivators was because they were all on Prime Minister Long's side. One was Prime Minister Long, and the other was Divine General Long Tian. Both of them were facing each other. Whether it was the number of Void Spirit stage cultivators or the overall combat strength, Prime Minister Long was much stronger. Now, with the arrival of the Imperial Teacher, there are a total of 3 Void Spirit stage powerhouses. Such a luxurious lineup is really terrifying. Soon, Prime Minister Long and the Imperial Preceptor arrived. The 3 people in front of them were Prime Minister Long, the Imperial Preceptor, and Divine General Long Tian. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and their detailed data appeared in front of him. Prime Minister Long, 4th level Void Spirit stage. Wearing high-grade sacred armor. Combat power, 21 million, normal state. Weaknesses, none. Martial arts, Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar, Heavenly Dragon Battle Art, Netherworld Divine Palm, Netherworld Divine Art, etc. Drops Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar, Heavenly Dragon Battle Art, Dragon God Bloodline, 30x EXP card, etc. State Teacher, 6th level of Void Spirit stage, wearing high-grade Sacred Artifact Battle Armor, surrounded by high-grade Sacred Artifact Dragon Subduing Flag. Combat power, 32 million, normal state. Weaknesses, none. The martial arts he knew were the God-Breaking Art and the Netherworld Divine Palm. Can drop Netherworld Divine Palm, Broken God Art, Tyrant Rune Paper, etc. Divine General Long Tian, 2nd level of Void Spirit stage. Equipped with high-grade Sacred Artifact Battle Armor. Wielding high-grade Sacred Artifact Divine Sword. Combat power, 18 million, normal state. Weaknesses, none. The demon subduing sword art, 100 swords piercing the sky, and so on. Can drop demon subduing sword art, dragon god bloodline, dragon god sword, etc. Each and every one of them is extremely strong, especially the state teacher's cultivation is even more astonishing. Even without using any power, the state teacher's battle power is as high as 32 million, which is simply heaven-defying. Divine General Long Tian could see that these high-grade sage artifacts had too many bonuses. His cultivation is 2 levels lower than Prime Minister Long, but the difference in battle power is not big. The main thing is that he has a weapon in his hand, which instantly increases his battle power by several million. The power of a sage artifact is too strong, and it's a high-grade sage artifact. If it's a divine artifact, it's estimated that a divine artifact can superimpose tens of millions of battle power. In addition to the 3 of them, there are a group of generals and ministers following behind them, all of them are in the core transformation stage, followed by the spirit core stage, and finally the lowest level soldiers, but none of them are weak, all of them are from spirit refinement to core condensation stage. Although the cultivation of these soldiers is very low, they have the advantage in numbers. Besieging the city from all directions, they have a great decisive effect. On Yi Tianyun's side, the ministers have also led the army to the city wall. Some of them are already standing guard outside the city gate, preparing for a war. When Prime Minister Long and the others are still a kilometer away from the city, they stopped in the air, and the people behind them also stopped. My nephew, I haven't seen you for a long time, I thought you were dead. Prime Minister Long is handsome and has the aura of a king. It's a pity that he can't get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, otherwise the Heavenly Dragon Empire would be under his control. Don't worry, even if you die, I won't die. Ren Long said coldly, as the Prime Minister of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, you actually colluded with the Netherworld Empire. Not only do you want to harm me, you are also a traitor. Are you worthy of the Heavenly Dragon Empire? I am worthy of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Prime Minister Long laughed a few times, then his face immediately sank. It's the Heavenly Dragon Empire that has wronged me. Why am I not better than you? I am better than you in terms of talent, and I am also better than you in terms of political ability. But because of a trivial bloodline problem, I can't get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, so I can't become a great emperor. It's ridiculous. Prime Minister Long's words are very sarcastic. No matter how good one is, as long as the bloodline is not suitable, they will still be kicked out. This is indeed not very fair, but letting you become the Prime Minister is tantamount to making up for it. Most of the power is in your hands. But you still chose to betray the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. You even tried to kill me to extract my blood essence so that you can get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. If father and mother were here, they would definitely not forgive you. No matter how much I make up for it, I am not an emperor. The so-called control of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure is nothing more than to absorb the blood essence of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. I didn't absorb too much blood essence, which led to this result. If I absorb a little more blood essence, I can still get the recognition of the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure. Don't think too much. Yi Tianyun interrupted and pointed his finger at his chest. Even if your blood essence is pure, the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure won't recognize you, and it won't recognize you. As a divine artifact, the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure has a certain degree of spiritual wisdom. It doesn't recognize you because your Heavenly Dragon blood is not strong enough, but because your heart is too black. If you had become a great emperor, I think you would have made the Heavenly Dragon Empire belong to the Netherworld Empire. Am I right? According to Yi Tianyun's words, it means that Prime Minister Long has always been a spy of the Netherworld Empire. From the beginning, they all thought that Prime Minister Long's betrayal was entirely due to the fact that he was ignored by the Netherworld Empire. According to Yi Tianyun's words, it means that Prime Minister Long has been a person of the Netherworld Empire for a long time. Chapter 408. Yi Tianyun's voice wasn't loud, but it could be heard by everyone. Everyone looked at him and Prime Minister Long. His words were so rude, and he wasn't talking about the bloodline, but the heavenly dragon's secret treasure that could identify Prime Minister Long as a traitor. If that's the case, then it's really amazing. What's so special about the heavenly dragon's secret treasure? Tianyun was talking nonsense because he saw that Prime Minister Long had mastered the Netherworld Divine Palm and the Netherworld Divine Art. These two techniques belonged to the Netherworld Great Emperor. If he wasn't one of the Netherworld Great Emperor's trusted aides, then how could he practice these two techniques? Why didn't Divine General Long learn them? And why didn't General Feng and the others practice them? The only possibility was that Prime Minister Long had always been a member of the Netherworld Empire, and he was very close to the Netherworld Great Emperor. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to practice these two techniques. Boy, who are you? Prime Minister Long looked at him coldly. Is it important who I am? Tianyun said indifferently. You are just a spy sent by the Netherworld Empire from the beginning. Why are you acting like the Heavenly Dragon Empire owes you? From the beginning, it was a mistake for you to stay in the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Prime Minister Long's eyes shrunk as if he was hit by something. In the imperial capital, many people were shouting and glaring at Prime Minister Long. The meaning of the two was different. Even if the Heavenly Dragon Empire conquered the imperial capital, they would inevitably resist. Nonsense. If you didn't force me, how could I do such a thing? Prime Minister Long sneered. I have had enough of the unfair treatment of the Ren family. I want to overthrow the stubborn faction of the Ren family and build a fair and just Heavenly Dragon Empire in the future. As long as one has the ability, he or she will be qualified to lead the Heavenly Dragon Empire. It's not because of some bullshit bloodline that he can sit in this position. Prime Minister Long's words made the eyes of the generals behind him light up. Even the cultivators in the imperial capital were shocked. This was indeed the reason why the Ren family was recognized by the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They had made so many contributions, but they couldn't compete with the power of bloodline. It has to be said that Prime Minister Long's fanning skill is very strong. It's not without reason that so many powerhouses chose to stand on his side. He must have given them more benefits or promises, otherwise, why would they stand on Prime Minister Long's side? You're the one spouting nonsense. Ren Long said coldly, I admit that I'm inferior to you in all aspects, but that's because you're a bit older than me, that's why there's a gap. How could the person who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure be weak? Furthermore, our Ren family does not stick to a single pattern when it comes to using people. As long as their standard is high enough, we will put them in an important position. Let me ask the officials on our side, has our Ren family ever mistreated you? The clan leader of the Hua family nodded. The Ren family did not mistreat them indeed. They even treated them very well. They were fair in their rewards and punishments. They would never act recklessly. As for the position of the Great Emperor, this has always been the rule of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Don't forget how the Heavenly Dragon Empire rose to power. He relied on the power of this bloodline to rise to power. Moreover, if the previous Great Emperor saw that the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure was not something he could control, how could he be at ease? Ren Long said in a deep voice, we have thought about this a long time ago. It's not that we are stubborn, but the Heavenly Dragon Empire chose us. The late Emperor had mentioned this before. If I were a mediocre person who knew nothing, the throne of the Great Emperor would never have been mine. Instead, I will let someone else do it, for example, you. In the end, it seems that I won with the power of my bloodline, but did we really mistreat you? You are too ambitious. The late Emperor said that you are too ambitious, and I hope that everything is just an illusion. Whether we forced you or you are a spy, you led the people of the Netherworld Empire to besiege the imperial capital, which caused the Heavenly Dragon Empire to fall into the flames of war. This is simply outrageous. Ren Long vented out all the anger in his heart. He was completely exasperated with the fact that they didn't meet his expectations. He was really angry about this. No matter what the reason was, the imperial preceptor of the Netherworld Empire was here, and no matter what the reason was, it was already considered as treason. You said that you were forced to lead the Netherworld Empire to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire? If I don't do this, will you give up the position of the Great Emperor to me? Prime Minister Long sneered. Yes. I would rather give up the position of the Great Emperor than let the Heavenly Dragon Empire fall into the flames of war. I don't want to see the generals kill each other. Ren Long said decisively. I don't want the Netherworld Empire to benefit from this. Ren Long's words shocked many people. Is he really willing to give up the position of the Great Emperor? Even the generals on Prime Minister Long's side were deeply shocked. Prime Minister Long's face sank. Originally, he just wanted to suppress the public opinion so that the morale of the army would fall into chaos, but he didn't expect that the other party would turn the tables on him. Regardless of whether he was forced or not, he had already made a mistake, a huge mistake at that. It was like robbing people because they were too poor. Brother Long, why are you talking so much with them? You just want to reduce the pressure on the Heavenly Dragon Empire so that you can manage it better. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes flashed with murderous light as he said, the winner is the king, and the loser is the thief. You have been here for too long, and your heart has softened. Prime Minister Long had a complicated look on his face, but he quickly calmed down and said, it seems that I have been here for too long, and my heart has softened. In that case, kill all of them. Let's overthrow the Heavenly Dragon Empire and become the great emperor of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Whoosh! An extremely cold light pierced through the air. Its speed was so fast that before Prime Minister Long could react, it was already in front of them. The Imperial Preceptor, who had the strongest cultivation, immediately reacted. He waved the flag floating beside him and moved forward to block the attack. In an instant, he constructed a large array in the air to block the cold light. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering noise, a burst of extremely cold air rolled towards them and wrapped them in it. The generals around them didn't even have time to react before they were frozen by the cold air. One or two core transformation stage experts didn't even have time to react before they were frozen into ice sculptures. Then, he fell from the sky, and with a peng sound, he was smashed into powder, completely dead. Chapter 409. While everyone was immersed in a bunch of explanations, Yi Tianyun already attacked, and his overbearing attack instantly killed two core transformation experts. The overbearing power of Yi Tianyun woke up many people from their stupor. Now that they thought about it carefully, they realized that Yi Tianyun was right. The Imperial Preceptor of the Netherworld Empire was standing right next to them. How could they just come over for a cup of tea and then leave? Of course, it was impossible. They were here to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They didn't want to give up and the other side didn't want to leave. So there was no need to talk nonsense. Who is this kid? The Imperial Master frowned. He didn't know when the Heavenly Dragon Empire had such a strong cultivator. The flags he released were fine, but their defense was obviously shaken. If the Heavenly Dragon Empire had a stronger cultivator, they would have been able to break their defense. Even after blocking the attack, a shockwave spread in all directions. Two core transformation stage powerhouses were immediately killed, not to mention the rest of the spirit core stage powerhouses. This power was truly shocking. No one knew when the Heavenly Dragon Empire had such an expert. I don't know. I don't think this kid is simple. Let's kill him first. Prime Minister Long's face was filled with an ominous glint. Good. Let's see if you can resist our attack. Attack! Roar! Everyone roared and rushed towards the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Although Ren Long said so much, they didn't waver in their determination to attack the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Especially the people of the Netherworld Empire, they wouldn't show any mercy. The Heavenly Dragon Empire was a new territory for them. It was their time to make a contribution to the Netherworld Empire. Under Yi Tianyun's sharp arrow, the war immediately broke out, no longer confronting each other. Many generals in the city were already in high spirits, and their eyes were red as they faced the people of the Netherworld Empire. I didn't want to say anything to them. If they want to shake the morale of my army, I will refute them. Ren Long sneered. If I didn't want to shake the morale of my army, I would have already rushed forward. A group of traitors. Prepare for battle and prepare to defend against their attacks. We don't need to be in such a hurry to move out. Ren Long said solemnly, archers, get ready. Shoot them down ruthlessly. Yes. Groups of archers immediately stood outside the city walls, holding longbows forged from low-grade soul armaments in their hands. They aimed at the charging army and drew their bowstrings, preparing to attack. Fire. Swish swish swish. Tens of thousands of sharp arrows shot out, forming a dense rain of arrows in the air, piercing towards them. There was no way to dodge. The general leading the charge quickly waved a fierce attack, blocking the countless arrows. Many of them were blocked, but there were still many arrows that fell, piercing through the soldiers that were charging at them. The ground was immediately dyed red by large patches of blood. The smell of blood quickly filled the area, but this did not scare them away. Instead, it aroused their fighting spirit. Little sister, let's go first. Ren Long's eyes flashed and he clenched his fist. The power of the entire Heavenly Dragon Empire trembled. Following that, a terrifying power rose up from the ground and a light pillar emerged from the ground. Following that, a 20 to 30 meter long heavenly dragon condensed from the light pillar. Without any hesitation, the heavenly dragon rushed towards the army. This was the effect of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. It could summon a huge heavenly dragon to fight against the enemy. Although the heavenly dragon was condensed from spiritual power, the light yellow dragon scales on it looked so real. With a roar, the heavenly dragon rushed towards the core transformation stage cultivators. The power of this heavenly dragon was not weak. It was at least at the 7th level of the core transformation stage. Although it could not defeat a void spirit stage cultivator, it could not die. As long as the energy of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure was not depleted, and the array was not broken, the heavenly dragon would never die. This was the scary part of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. It could exist for a long time, and no attack would be able to stop it. Roar! Soon after, another heavenly dragon rushed out from the pillar of light. This heavenly dragon was obviously much smaller. It was only about 20 meters long, much smaller than the previous one. This heavenly dragon was not summoned by Ren Long, it was summoned by Ren Jiro. The heavenly dragons summoned by different cultivators were different in size and cultivation. Each person could only summon one heavenly dragon. That was why the more people who could control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, the better. The two heavenly dragons rushed into the crowd of soldiers and slapped them with their huge claws. Many soldiers were killed by the claws of the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. These two heavenly dragons were enough to kill a lot of soldiers. Heavenly dragon. Quick, run. Our attacks are useless. Our attacks can't hurt it at all. Help. Help. The soldiers screamed in pain. They were so scared that they threw away their helmets and armors. None of them dared to attack the heavenly dragons. Suddenly, the soldiers in both areas retreated. They did not dare to get close to the heavenly dragons. Mere worms, how dare you be so impudent? Imperial Preceptor sneered and the flags around him flew out rapidly, forming a circle of light that enveloped one of the sky dragons in an instant. No matter how the sky dragon tried to break out of the circle of light, it was unable to break out of the circle of light. In fact, the circle of light was getting tighter and tighter. The area of its struggle was getting smaller and smaller, and it could only let out continuous roars. Following that, 2 more flags flew to the side, trapping the other sky dragon. It was unable to struggle out at all. In a short while, the 2 heaven dragons were trapped and unable to come out. These two heavenly dragons could not die, but it did not mean that they could not be trapped. As long as the heavenly dragon did not completely collapse, they would not be able to summon another heavenly dragon. He had completely suppressed the two heavenly dragons, making them unable to defend themselves. Many people in the imperial capital were shocked when they saw this. The so-called immortal heavenly dragons were captured just like that. If this continued, the only thing left to do was to break through the shield. Once the shield was broken, they would have to face a great army. You two little fellows, do you think we're like a bunch of hotheads? Do you think we'll just charge over and be done with it? I will take good care of you. This power will no longer belong to you, it will belong to me. Prime Minister Long sneered. This is the dragon subduing flag. It is specially made to subdue dragons. The Imperial Master really came prepared. Ren Long's face darkened. The heavenly dragons they summoned were immediately suppressed. The morale of the Imperial Master was greatly boosted. It turns out that the dragon subduing flag has such a strong effect. Now I understand. Yi Tianyun smiled. Let's see how many heavenly dragons he can subdue. Then, his eyes flashed, and the whole heavenly dragon imperial capital trembled violently. A beam of light soared into the sky, followed by a 50 to 60 meters long heavenly dragon. The tyrannical power of the heavenly dragon pressed down on the surroundings. Void Spirit Stage First Level. Chapter 410. Everyone thought that Yi Tianyun could only summon 2 heavenly dragons, but when the 3rd heavenly dragon appeared, the enemy and their allies were shocked. How can he summon more heavenly dragons? Didn't each person only summon 1 heavenly dragon? How can there be 3 heavenly dragons? Roar! Whether in terms of length or strength, the huge sky dragon far exceeded the sky dragons summoned by Ren Long and the others. It pounced towards the army and opened its huge mouth to spit out a terrifying beam of light. Everywhere it went was turned into ruins. Many of the enemy soldiers were sent flying, screaming in pain. Ding! Successfully killed Spirit Core Cultivator General. Reward, 2,300,000 EXP, 9,300 Crazy Point, 150 SPs, obtained Martial Art Fierce Dragon / Flying Leg. Obtained Item Recovery Pill, Spirit Breaking Pill. Ding! Successfully killed Core Transformation Realm General. Reward, 1 million EXP, 12,000 Crazy Point, 450 SPS, obtained Martial Art Tyrannical Tiger Claw, Dragon Soul Secret Art. Obtained Item Dragon Jade Armor, Heavenly Domain Sword. Ding! Successfully killed Spirit Core Cultivator General. Reward, 2,400,000 EXP, 9,400 Crazy Point, 200 SPs, the terrifying heavenly dragon rampaged madly in all directions. Compared to them, Yi Tianyun is more like a terrifying slaughterer. No matter how many heavenly dragons come at him, he will kill them all. Before he started killing, he used all the EXP cards he had. If he didn't have any, he would buy them in the shop. 30x EXP card, 20x EXP card, 10x EXP card and 5x EXP card. That's 65 times EXP. With 65 times EXP, coupled with his own crazy EXP mode, it's a terrifying 73 times EXP suddenly. A small Spirit Core Cultivator can bring him more than 2 million EXP. The same is true for Crazy Point, he used 3x EXP card. The same is true for Sin Point, he used 2x Sin card. All of a sudden, all of his experience points exploded. In the face of so many enemies, if he didn't use it, he would be a fool. No matter how much Crazy Point he has, he will use it. Because he will definitely get back the cost soon, unless he dies. What's going on? There is another heavenly dragon. The faces of the Imperial Preceptor and the others all changed. Moreover, it was such a ferocious heavenly dragon. They had never seen such a huge heavenly dragon before. This degree of domineeringness was simply unparalleled. Most importantly, it wasn't Renlong or Renjiro who was summoning them. It was that unknown kid. Renlong's side was stunned. This was the first time they had seen such a domineering sky dragon. The sky dragon that was summoned was so shocking. Heavens! Did King Yi summon this? He's so powerful to be able to summon such a huge heavenly dragon. This King Yi is really unfathomable. I wonder how he can control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure, but with King Yi here, we will have a great advantage. The morale on this side soared. The sky dragon was their guardian. Seeing the sky dragon soaring through the sky, their hearts naturally surged. Swish swish swish. The archers once again pulled back their bows and shot out. Sky Dragon was not weak, but it was not just a small group of soldiers that surrounded them. There were soldiers everywhere, and they charged towards them. Dang dang dang. When the enemy soldiers got close, they quickly launched a frenzied attack at the barrier. However, they could not break through the barrier, and all their attacks were blocked outside. On the other hand, the soldiers inside the barrier were able to attack outside. That was the difference. Those inside the barrier could attack at will, but those outside could only attack the barrier. They could not break through it. If they wanted to break through, they would first have to break through the barrier. However, under such a crazy attack, the barrier could not last for too long. Hence, many soldiers had already killed their way out and were fighting with the soldiers outside. When they were injured or exhausted, they quickly retreated to rest. This kind of fortress was perfect for a war of attrition. Die! At that moment, Divine General Long Tian roared and swung his sword down. Even the void was about to be split in half. As a dazzling light slashed down, the sky dragon that was attacking everywhere was cut in half at the waist. The violent force hit the sky dragon's body. However, after the sky dragon was cut in half, it turned into countless light spots that floated in the air. Very quickly, it reformed into a huge sky dragon. There was no problem at all. Be it its size or cultivation, there were no changes. Roar! The sky dragon roared and opened its mouth, pouncing towards the soldiers with low cultivation. A golden pillar of light shot out from its mouth and bombarded them, killing a large group of soldiers. Immortal. Indeed, sky dragons could not die. Unless they were trapped like the Imperial Preceptor, no matter how they were cut, it would be useless. They would recover very quickly and fly again. If you trapped it, it would be the same as locking this power, and it would not be able to condense it again. Imperial Preceptor. Divine General Long Tian's face sank. He wanted the Imperial Preceptor to suppress this sky dragon. The Imperial Preceptor's face was also ugly. The flags he brought could only suppress 2 sky dragons. If he were to suppress Yi Tianyun's one, the other 2 would have to escape. This was because Yi Tianyun's one was too domineering. 2 or 3 flags could not suppress it at all. Suppress this one first. The Imperial Preceptor gritted his teeth and quickly kept the dragon subduing flag. He then instructed, send someone to stop the other 2 sky dragons. Leave this one to me. With a wave of the Imperial Preceptor's hand, the dragon subduing flag that trapped the other 2 sky dragons immediately flew over and quickly surrounded Yi Tianyun's sky dragon. In the blink of an eye, it was surrounded by countless light rings, trapping it tightly. The difference between the 2 was too great. Suppressing the sky dragon was not a problem at all. The problem was that these sky dragons could not die, so it was useless no matter how strong they were. What was the point of killing them if they could not be killed? Countless slashes and then countless recoveries, so there was not much point in killing them. After the other 2 sky dragons broke free from the light rings, they quickly attacked to the side. However, they were quickly trapped by the other cultivators. They were constantly attacked and could only cause small damage. King Yi, it seems like it's our turn to take action personally. Renlong's expression was solemn. He was ready for battle. The sky dragon only had the effect of increasing their aura. It was not practical to chase these people away. Yes, but I still have a gift for them. Yi Tianyun flew out and looked at them with a faint smile. It seems that this dragon-subduing flag is quite powerful. Let's see how many sky dragons you can suppress. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun waved his hand and dozens of earth dragons appeared on the ground. They roared at the sky. Then, 2 huge dragons appeared on the ground, one red and one black. It was a large group of sky dragons. Is he a beast tamer? The Imperial Preceptor's face darkened as he looked at the large group of sky dragons. With so many sky dragons charging at them, the damage they caused was terrifying, especially the 2 huge dragons. Their chi was at the peak of the core transformation stage. It was enough to suppress all the other cultivators except for them. Chapter 411. Roar. After a group of earth dragons and 2 red and black dragons appeared, they immediately rushed to the front. Especially this group of earth dragons, there are dozens of them, like dozens of mountains, they rushed to the front. Unless one is a core transformation expert, otherwise, no one will be able to move them. Seeing this group of earth dragons, Imperial Preceptor's face became even more ugly. General Long's earth dragon army was subdued by him. What kind of beast tamer is this? He can control so many earth dragons at once. This is a big gift, and all of them are dragons. The soldiers behind him were shocked. Ren Long and the others have never seen so many dragons. He can control so many at once. He is simply a monster. Under the attack of so many earth dragons, the soldiers who charged to the front were either slapped to death or sent flying by the earth dragons. They were either killed or injured. Ding successfully killed a soldier of Spirit Refinement Realm, gaining 93,000 EXP, 650 Crazy Point, 50 SPs, obtained Martial Art. Ding successfully killed Spirit Refinement Soldier, gained. A large number of cannon fodder were easily killed. The ones who rush to the front are usually the ones with the lowest cultivation level, but they are also the ones with the most number. Those with high cultivation level have already turned around and fled. They don't dare to get close to this group of earth dragons. Brother Yi, are you also a beast tamer? Renjiro was shocked. Well, I am, but we can't hold them for long. We need to go out and intercept them. Yi Tianyun didn't think that these earth dragons and the 2 giant dragons would be able to stop them unless they killed the Imperial Preceptor and the others. Otherwise, these earth dragons would be a piece of cake for the Imperial Preceptor and the others. Everyone looked at Yi Tianyun, their hearts are even more shocked, they don't know what to say. Those who opposed Yi Tianyun to become a king before, now they are trembling. Even if he can't become a king at that time, he will definitely become a king after this battle. With this strength, he is more than qualified to become a king. Not only are you a beast tamer, you can control so many dragons and the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. How could the Ren family have such an expert? Could it be that the Ren family hid him? Prime Minister Long ignored the group of earth dragons below. They were more concerned about Yi Tianyun's identity. It was not easy for him to control the heavenly dragon's secret treasure. I'll leave that to your imagination. Yi Tianyun pulled back the Ice Frost Divine Bow in his hand and aimed at them, shooting wildly. Wherever he went, a large number of enemies were crushed and forced to retreat. Just his strength alone was enough to stop most of the troops from advancing. They didn't dare to approach at all. Kill! At this time, they roared loudly. Taking advantage of the high morale, all the patriarchs rushed out and a large number of core transformation stage powerhouses joined the battle. At this moment, the battle had officially entered the climax, and the flames of war were completely ignited. They wouldn't hide inside and watch foolishly. Instead, they would come out and fight bravely, completely driving away these enemies. If you don't want to talk, then no matter who you are, today will be the day you die. Prime Minister Long's eyes turned cold, and the power of the heavenly dragon burst out. A heavenly dragon phantom appeared behind him, and then he fiercely slapped his palm. Heavenly Dragon Battle Roar. A heavenly dragon whizzed out of his hand and attacked him crazily. The earth trembled because of it. Just the places that the heavenly dragon had brushed past cracked into several pieces. There were even deep depressions. It was as if the body of a giant dragon had rubbed against the ground, leaving a deep ravine. The power of this move was as high as 40 million combat power. It can be said that it was a very strong attack. At this moment, Prime Minister Long suddenly appeared behind Yi Tianyun, and the long sword in his hand pierced towards Yi Tianyun's back. The flickering sword light was released from the body of the sword, and without hesitation, it pierced towards Yi Tianyun's chest. 2 against 1. They wanted to get rid of Yi Tianyun as soon as possible. Everyone can see that Yi Tianyun is a scourge. If they want to capture this heavenly dragon empire, they must first kill Yi Tianyun. Moreover, Yi Tianyun has rushed out, and the rest are still inside the shield, so they can't deal with him. Ren Long and the others wanted to help, but it was too late. Everything happened too suddenly, so fast that they couldn't keep up. Their cultivation is a notch lower than Prime Minister Long. Ren Long was originally stronger than Prime Minister Long, but that was in the past. Now, he is not as strong as Prime Minister Long. Die. Prime Minister Long's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he released the maximum strength in his hand, wanting to kill Yi Tianyun in one move. When many people thought that Yi Tianyun would die, he suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed it. He grabbed it with his bare hand, and didn't use a weapon to block it. Clang! A crisp sound rang out, and when everyone looked over, they discovered that the attack didn't sever his hand. Instead, it was caught in his hand, and the tyrannical sword couldn't cut it in the slightest. Prime Minister Long was completely caught in Yi Tianyun's hand. Your level is a bit too low. Even General Feng can't hurt me. You're still lacking. Yi Tianyun sneered and dragged Prime Minister Long over. By the time Prime Minister Long reacted and wanted to let go, it was too late. Yi Tianyun grabbed his shoulder and quickly turned him forward, following the heavenly dragon battle roar. He pushed Prime Minister Long forward and used him as a shield. Boom! Prime Minister Long was hit in the back, and the violent impact caused him to cough up blood. Yi Tianyun slightly twisted his head to the side, dodging the blood. However, what greeted him next was a heavy sword that pierced through his chest and lifted him into the air. This sword was Prime Minister Long's sword, and it was already in Yi Tianyun's hand. Your strength is too weak. Practice more in your next life, and don't be a traitor. Xiong! The immortal fire burned and enveloped Prime Minister Long. The violent flame quickly burned Prime Minister Long into charcoal, and Prime Minister Long threw his body to the side. Divine General Long Tian's corpse fell from the sky. When it hit the ground, it was smashed into several pieces. All of them were burnt to a crisp, so it was natural for it to be smashed into pieces. Ding! Successfully killed Prime Minister Long. Reward: 36 million EXP, 15,000 CPS, 1,000 SPs, obtained Demon Subduing Sword Art. Obtained item, Dragon God Bloodline, 4th grade, Divine Dragon Sword. An explosive amount of EXP surged up, and with the terrifying EXP stacking, Prime Minister Long got 30 million EXP at once. After killing a few more, Prime Minister Long can level up easily. But Void Spirit experts aren't cabbages. There were 3 Void Spirit experts in front of him, but now that he killed one, there were only 2 left. Chapter 4:12. 2 against 1. This was indeed not very fair, but who would say that it was fair on this battlefield? Winner takes all, whoever wins is the king. But these words coming from Yi Tianyun's mouth were full of sarcasm. 2 against 1 couldn't kill him, it was really too weak. Many people were shocked by this scene. A Void Spirit stage expert's attack actually didn't cause any damage to him. Wasn't this too heaven-defying? Blocking this attack was already quite powerful, but catching the sword with one's bare hands was completely different. Just how strong was one's defense? Of course, Yi Tianyun's defense was not weak. He had already equipped the evil dragon set, which boosted his defense by 20 times, and he also had the dragon god bloodline, which boosted his defense greatly. One must know that he was able to withstand General Feng's attack even when his cultivation was weaker. Now Divine General Long Tian was a bit weaker than General Feng. His weapon was slightly better, but it couldn't make up for the gap between the two. He was easily killed by Yi Tianyun. Not only did he use Divine General Long Tian as a meat shield to block the attack, he also easily killed Divine General Long Tian. He was like a god of war. This battle was very shocking. But the other battles were still going on. They didn't stop because of the situation here. They were still fighting crazily. The battle had long been pushed into a white-hot state. Among them, Yi Tianyun's giant dragon was constantly killing. Everywhere it went, there were corpses. They were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. They abandoned their armor and fled. Morale had dropped greatly. Now that Divine General Long Tian was killed, the soldiers were scared out of their wits. Originally, they thought that with so many experts helping them, they would definitely win. But now it seemed that they were completely suppressed. If this continued, they would all die here. How could they not be afraid? In addition to this, EXP was pouring in crazily. There was also his sin value. They were constantly increasing while he was facing off. There were so many earth dragons and giant dragons, and they were killing their enemies at every moment. They looked so fierce. As long as Yi Tianyun didn't ask them to stop, they wouldn't stop. If this continued, even if he didn't kill high-level experts, just the spirit core stage would be enough for him to level up. 73 times the experience was no joke. On rare occasions, leveling up would not be difficult. Ren Long also joined the battle and killed the core transformation generals on the side. Although he couldn't compete with Prime Minister Long and the other core transformation generals, it wasn't a problem for him to kill them. Originally, the key person was Ren Long, but now that the Imperial Preceptor and Prime Minister Long were transferred to him, he was the real key person. If they didn't kill him, they wouldn't be able to conquer the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Oh, when I said that 2 against 1 isn't fair, it's not for me, but for you guys. Isn't the number of people a little too little? It's not fair to you guys. Yi Tianyun held onto the dragon god's sword and looked at them coldly. Prime Minister Long's face was ashen. He didn't expect that Divine General Long Tian would be killed so easily. A void spirit stage expert was killed just like that. This was his right-hand man, and he had died just like that. Don't be arrogant. At this time, the Imperial Preceptor rushed towards Yi Tianyun. A few divine runes appeared in his hand and he quickly threw them out. A huge array appeared in the air and quickly condensed into a lightning bolt that struck down from the sky towards the Imperial Preceptor. The Imperial Preceptor is indeed a divine rune grandmaster, he is indeed a divine rune grandmaster. The Imperial Preceptor's strength was not in attack, but in array formations. The Imperial Preceptor was a divine rune grandmaster and he came here to break the array. Even if he had a heavenly dragon secret treasure, he would still be able to break the array if he had enough time. Unfortunately, he met Yi Tianyun, he can't break the array at all, let alone break it. Lightning bolt. Suddenly, a pearl appeared in Yi Tianyun's hand. Along with a terrifying suction force, the lightning bolt was sucked into the heavenly thunder divine pearl. After the divine runes disappeared, Yi Tianyun flew in the air unscathed. On the contrary, the heavenly thunder divine pearl in his hand was full. The power of this heavenly thunder attack was indeed not weak, it immediately reached more than 50 million combat power, but the heavenly thunder divine pearl has absolute suppression and completely absorbed this power. Fortunately, the heavenly thunder was still within the range of tolerance, otherwise, the heavenly thunder divine pearl would have exploded. This is. The Imperial Preceptor's pupils shrank. The array that he was proud of was absorbed just like that. This heavenly thunder is not bad, but I will return it to you. Tianyun stretched out his hand and a terrifying lightning bolt blasted out from the heavenly thunder divine pearl. A thick lightning bolt bombarded Prime Minister Long. Its power was almost the same as the one released by the Imperial Preceptor. They didn't expect that Tianyun would use this trick again. Not only that, but he was also able to attack Prime Minister Long, who had a slightly lower cultivation base than Prime Minister Long. Prime Minister Long didn't just stand there stupidly. His whole body was already covered with dragon scales. The heavenly dragon bloodline in his body was not bad, so he could still burst out a very strong heavenly dragon power. Heavenly Dragon Battle Art. Prime Minister Long looked up to the sky and roared. His power suddenly exploded as he raised his hand and waved his palm. A huge palm fell from the sky and fiercely pressed down on the lightning bolt. When many people saw this palm, their complexion changed because this was the Netherworld Divine Palm. The Netherworld Great Emperor's famous technique was released by Prime Minister Long just like that. This means that Prime Minister Long has a very close relationship with the Netherworld Great Emperor, otherwise, it would be impossible for him to practice the Netherworld Divine Palm. This overbearing palm was much stronger than the one released by the Netherworld Great Emperor's Phantom. This is the real Netherworld Divine Palm. It may be a little weaker than the Netherworld Great Emperor's, but the effect should not be that much worse. A layer of Netherworld aura floated above the huge palm, as if it came from hell, dragging all living creatures into the Netherworld. Boom! The two collided with each other, accompanied by a loud noise. The dazzling energy exploded in the air and rolled up a wave of air that spread in all directions. Many soldiers with low cultivation were pressed to the ground and couldn't move. Netherworld Divine Palm, you really are a spy of the Netherworld Great Empire. Ren Long roared after seeing this. He didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a traitor, but he didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a spy. He didn't think that Prime Minister Long would be a traitor at most. Who would have thought that Prime Minister Long was a spy? Chapter 413. Prime Minister Long's move completely exposed his identity. This was the effect that Tianyun wanted. Although everyone knew that Prime Minister Long might have a relationship with the Netherworld Empire, they didn't know how deep their relationship was. But now, it seemed that Prime Minister Long's relationship with the Netherworld Empire was quite deep. He knew that this identity seemed meaningless, but at least he knew that Prime Minister Long wasn't forced to do this, but he was a big spy. It was not that the Heavenly Dragon Empire was unfair, it was the spy who came to sow discord. This made Prime Minister Long's heart waver. Some of them chose to follow Prime Minister Long because they were dissatisfied with the current situation of the Ren family and wanted Prime Minister Long to change everything. However, they didn't expect that Prime Minister Long was a spy, which meant that they would really work for the Netherworld Empire instead of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They could accept cooperating with the Netherworld Empire, but they didn't want to be ruled by the Netherworld Empire. Originally, they thought that they would ask the Netherworld Empire for help and then give them some compensation so that the Heavenly Dragon Empire would still be theirs. Now, it seemed that he was too naive. In the future, the Sky Dragon would be changed to Hades. Suddenly, many of the generals stopped and didn't take the initiative to attack. Prime Minister Long, you lied to us. You are a man of the Netherworld Empire. Didn't you say that you would rebuild the Heavenly Dragon Empire? Yes, you lied to us. We believed that you, as a man of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, would change the status quo. But now, it seems that you are a spy of the Netherworld Empire. I don't want to fight anymore, I surrender. As soon as they were exposed, many generals immediately appeared to surrender. However, what welcomed them was a huge Netherworld Divine Palm. It pressed down fiercely with lightning speed and blasted on the bodies of their own generals. Boom! The generals who chose to surrender were blown away by the explosion. Prime Minister Long looked at them indifferently and in a blink of an eye, he cleaned up some of the traitors who wanted to surrender. Prime Minister Long didn't expect that he would be forced to use this move. The power of the lightning was too strong, it made him feel a sense of crisis. If he didn't use his strongest attack, he wouldn't be able to resist this move. But who knew that this move would expose him and let the people here know that he was a spy? We're all on the same boat. Those who surrender will die. Do you think that if you surrender, they will still choose to take you back? Prime Minister Long flew to the side, adjusted his aura, and looked at them coldly. Prime Minister Long's words hit their hearts. So what if they surrendered? How could they be put in an important position? Of course, this was impossible. They would never be put in an important position, and would even be monitored. Those who had rebelled would never be placed in an important position again, let alone be trusted. To put it bluntly, everything was over. If he could betray us this time, he could betray us next time. Therefore, we can't put him in an important position. These words were like a bucket of cold water pouring down on them, making their hearts turn cold. It seemed that there was no point in surrendering. If you put down your weapons and choose to surrender, I won't pursue the matter. Ren Long's voice resounded through the entire region. He said in a powerful voice, "You are just bewitched by others. I know that you are still thinking for the Heavenly Dragon Empire. So as long as you choose to surrender, I will not pursue any matter with you. I will sincerely accept you back." Of course, Ren Long would not let go of this opportunity. How could he not be happy to weaken a lot of their forces? He was indeed willing to accept their surrender, but it was impossible to put them in an important position in the future. However, he would still give them a certain amount of power and not completely banish them. How could this not arouse their hearts of betrayal? He still had to use some means. Ren Long's words made many of the surrendered generals happy. Ren Long's words were still very credible. Their eyes immediately flashed with hope. They were still willing to surrender. Whoever surrenders, I will be the first to kill him. Prime Minister Long's cold voice resounded through the battlefield, making those who wanted to surrender feel cold in their hearts, not daring to say half a word. Don't worry, you will be the first to die. Yi Tianyun pulled the bowstring to its fullest, aimed at Prime Minister Long and released the Wrath of Ice. A thick ice arrow pierced through and bombarded the Prime Minister Long. He didn't hide his violent power at all. His combat power was as high as 60 million. The whole ice divine bow buzzed as it reached its limit. Tiny cracks appeared on the ice divine bow. If it continues to be used like this, it will be completely destroyed. Because 60 million combat power is already the limit, if it continues to increase, this weapon won't be able to withstand it, so a higher grade ice divine bow is needed. However, 60 million combat power is already quite heaven-defying. Prime Minister Long's face changed. He once again waved his palm, his power erupted to the extreme. He operated the Netherworld Divine Art and Netherworld Divine Palm, fiercely covering this side. His combat power directly exploded to more than 57 million, which can be regarded as his peak power. Shio! It suddenly pierced through the huge palm and bombarded Prime Minister Long's body. Boom! Prime Minister Long groaned as he was blown away. A large part of his body was frozen, but he quickly released the overbearing power of the Heavenly Dragon, trying to shatter the ice. But at this time, his face changed and his face darkened. Dragon Killer Poison. Prime Minister Long's face changed. He didn't expect that his opponent would have Dragon Killer Poison. Yi Tianyun knew that this attack couldn't kill Prime Minister Long in a second. If Prime Minister Long could be killed so easily, he wouldn't be Prime Minister Long. Therefore, he used the Dragon Killer Poison. A lot of Dragon Killer Poison had been dropped before, so he fused it with the Frost Arrow. After hitting it, the poison immediately seeped in and began to suppress Prime Minister Long's power. At this time, a beam of light suddenly rushed from behind him, wrapping around him. Everything happened so suddenly that he didn't know what happened. Unbeknownst to him, Grand Master had already appeared behind Yi Tianyun and carried out a perfect sneak attack. Not far away, Grand Master floated in the air and looked over with a cold expression. There are actually two Grand Masters. However, Yi Tianyun disappeared and reappeared behind Grand Master the next moment. The red dragon divine spear appeared in his hand and pierced towards Grand Master. Puchi. The red dragon divine spear penetrated Grand Master's body and lifted him in the air. Chapter 4:14. The Imperial Preceptor's sneak attack turned out to be the one being attacked. This sudden turn of events left many people unable to react. They all thought that Yi Tianyun would be hit, but who would have thought that he would appear behind the Imperial Preceptor and counterattack? They didn't know how he did it. How is this possible? The Imperial Preceptor's eyes were filled with disbelief. The sneak attack had been so smooth and well concealed, but it still failed. Everything was too strange. In the blink of an eye, the enemy had arrived behind him and even used the red dragon spear to pierce through his body. Die! Yi Tianyun suddenly twisted the red dragon spear in his hand. A violent tyrannical spirit spread in all directions, shattering the Imperial Preceptor into several pieces. However, when he landed on the ground, he discovered that there was no trace of blood, only a few pieces of wood. Puppet art. Puppet art was a very mysterious ability that was linked to divine runes. It could be considered an extension. By carving divine runes on any object and inserting one's soul into it, one would be able to control it. Its strength was inferior to the user's, but it was superior in that it could be controlled at will. Moreover, it had no aura, making it hard to detect. To put it bluntly, the real Imperial Preceptor was still far away, and what Yi Tianyun killed was only a puppet. Puppet art, no wonder I couldn't detect the slightest aura. I almost succeeded in my sneak attack. Yi Tianyun's expression sank. When he was fighting with Long Zai, he didn't sense the approaching puppet at all. He only knew at the instant of the attack. At that time, the puppet had already arranged a grand formation and ruthlessly attacked him. Fortunately, he could teleport, or else he would have been hit. At this moment, the beam of light shot out and enveloped the area in front of them. Wherever it went, everyone was turned into ashes. The key thing was that there was also a sealing power within it. If they were hit by it, they might really be trapped. This power, could it be teleportation? In the distance, the Imperial Preceptor's heart was in a state of extreme shock. His meticulously planned scheme was destroyed just like that. However, his meticulously crafted puppet was destroyed just like that. His heart was bleeding. A tearing sensation came from his head, causing his complexion to turn even paler. Puppets were not easy to make. They required all kinds of precious materials and their own souls to make them. If the puppet died and that bit of soul was destroyed, he would also suffer a certain amount of damage to his soul, and the damage would still be very great. However, compared to the damage, he was more concerned about the teleportation. In an instant, he disappeared from where he was, allowing him to see everything clearly. How is this possible? I failed. Prime Minister Long, who was lying on the ground, was also filled with disbelief. He thought that everything went smoothly. As long as they could kill Yi Tianyun easily, everything would be fine. Who would have thought that they would fail, a complete failure? Looks like it's time to end this. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. A black aura was released from his body. In the next moment, he turned into a 100-meter-long evil dragon and charged forward. The sudden change shocked everyone. When an even larger evil dragon appeared, it was as if the sky had been blocked from everyone's view, causing the entire area to be pitch black. So far, except for Renlong, no one had seen him transform into this huge evil dragon. Therefore, when Renjiro saw Yi Tianyun transform into this evil dragon, she was deeply shocked, and her beautiful eyes widened. Their attacks paused for a moment, but they soon resumed their attacks, resisting the incoming enemies. Roar! Yi Tianyun let out a deafening dragon roar and pounced on Prime Minister Long, who was lying on the ground poisoned. With a flip of his dragon claw, he pressed it down on Prime Minister Long. The huge dragon claw was like a falling meteorite, stirring up waves of air in all directions, completely locking him in place, making it impossible for him to escape. Prime Minister Long's face turned pale, and he hurriedly climbed up to escape. After being poisoned by the dragon-slaying poison, his strength had been greatly reduced, and he was also hit by Yi Tianyun's attack. "State Preceptor, save me!" Prime Minister Long shouted in horror. His previous majesty had disappeared. Facing the fear of death, Prime Minister Long could only put down his pride and call for help. In the next moment, the imperial preceptor flew over and threw a few divine inscriptions at the incoming dragon claw. A large array quickly appeared in the air, and in the blink of an eye, it formed a huge barrier that enveloped the surroundings. Bang! When Yi Tianyun's dragon claw pressed down, it was slightly blocked. His huge dragon eyes flashed with a cold light. Break! Bang! The dragon claw pressed down, and the indestructible shield was forcibly crushed. Then, the dragon claw continued to press down, and in less than a second, the seemingly sturdy shield was crushed just like that. It's not that the shield is too weak, but Yi Tianyun is too strong. When he goes all out, his combat power is as high as 78 million, which is the limit of his current combat power without burning his blood essence. This power is enough to crush everything, including the state preceptor. He didn't want to continue to drag the battle. After exploring the real situation, he used his strongest state to suppress the enemy, officially ending the battle. The state preceptor's face changed. The divine runes he threw out didn't even last for a breath of time. This power exceeded his expectations. However, he had already arrived at Prime Minister Long's side, hugged him, and quickly flew to the side. But the dragon claw has already covered them, and they can't escape this attack range at this moment. "Open for me!" The state preceptor roared, and his whole body burst with golden light. The clothes that were originally covering his body suddenly turned into ashes, and then countless divine runes appeared on his body. Every divine rune shone with golden light, instantly activating this power. After stimulating the potential of all the divine runes, the power quickly increased, and the power suddenly exploded. A large part of his body swelled up, and his whole body doubled in size. From the original height of 1.8 meters, he suddenly became more than 3 meters tall, like a small giant. The swollen muscles looked very terrifying, but also very powerful. A long blade appeared in his hand, more than 3 meters long, and the thick blade was also engraved with divine runes. The long blade of the high-grade sacred tool appeared in his hand. He suddenly looked up, and his eyes were also branded with golden divine runes. He immediately held the long blade and swung it up. God break! Accompanied by a roar, a phantom of a martial god appeared behind him, holding a domineering long blade in his hand, and waved the long blade in his hand. OM! A blade light that was more than 10 meters long swept over like a bright moon. The domineering blade light burst out with energy that can cut through the void. Chapter 4:15. The domineering blade chi was like a sword slashed by the martial god, cutting through the sky. This can be said to be the imperial preceptor's full strength, layer upon layer, as high as 84 million combat power. It is really amazing. How can a full body of divine tools and divine runes be weak? Devour the heavens. Yi Tianyun didn't intend to dodge at all. He continued to press down with his dragon claw. A huge black hole appeared on his palm, devouring the energy in front of him, but the power that erupted from the imperial preceptor was too strong. He couldn't devour it at all. He could only devour a little bit of energy, the rest continued to slash upwards. Finally, the two clashed head-on. The domineering blade light rushed over and collided with the dragon claw that he pressed down. It made a ga sound, like the sound of metal colliding with metal. It was very ear-piercing. Yi Tianyun felt a tingling pain in his hand. The blade chi was about to break his defense, but he still pressed down, trying to crush the blade chi. It's just that this power is a lot stronger than his current strength. even if his defense is amazing, he can't easily suppress it. When he wanted to burn his blood essence, a crisp sound rang in his ear. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to the peak of core transformation stage. At this moment, his battle power suddenly soared from 78 million to 85 million. Just one level increased his combat power by 6 million. From the 9th level of core transformation stage to the peak of core transformation stage, his combat power increased by 750,000, then under the 8 times crazy mode, it instantly became 6 million. Superimposed on the original combat power, it became 5 million, completely overshadowing the Imperial Preceptor's attack. Explode for me. Boom! Yi Tianyun squeezed the blade chi with his dragon claw fiercely, and the blade chi was crushed by him, turning into a little starlight. But because of this buffering force, the Imperial Preceptor had already escaped to the side with Prime Minister Long. When he saw this scene, his heart trembled. Such a domineering move was crushed just like that, only leaving a slightly deep scar on the dragon claw. The whole dragon claw was not cut in half. It can be seen that the Imperial Preceptor has a strong defense. The effect of the evil dragon equipment set's 20-fold increase in defense was no joke, especially with the increase in his cultivation. If his cultivation didn't increase, and his dragon god bloodline didn't strengthen, then the effect of 20 times wouldn't be very meaningful. This was like saying that if one's defense was only 1 point, then 20 times would be 20 points. It was completely meaningless. Hence, the reason why he was able to withstand this attack was largely due to Yi Tianyun's improvement in cultivation. If his cultivation was slightly lower in the past, he would have been sliced into 2. As expected of the Imperial Teacher, I'm afraid that his strength is comparable to an ordinary 7th or 8th level Void Spirit stage expert. Yi Tianyun turned his head to look at the Imperial Teacher, and his heart was filled with shock. Fighting someone of a higher cultivation realm required a wide variety of techniques. If one continued to stack up their techniques, their strength would increase significantly. Therefore, his initial judgment was the most inaccurate. If he didn't have more than 10 million battle power, then he would only be able to burst out 20 to 30 million battle power. If he burst out with all his battle power, it might even reach more than 50 to 60 million. For example, if he threw out a large number of sacred tools, how could his combat power not explode? Yi Tianyun was shocked, but the other party was also shocked. In the close combat, the power of the two was immediately revealed, and the power of each other was so overbearing. This strength is too strong. Where did this freak come from? The Imperial Teacher's eyes turned cold, and immediately thought of something. So many Earth Dragons. Could it be that General Long and General Feng were killed by him? On the side, Prime Minister Long's face sank. Of course, he knew about this matter. So many Void Spirit stage experts were killed by this expert, and it's very likely that he was the one who killed them. Now that this expert is standing on the side of the Heavenly Dragon Empire, it's very likely that he was sent by the Heavenly Dragon Empire to help them. I didn't expect your Heavenly Dragon Empire to have such a trump card. This is our mistake. The Imperial Teacher's eyes turned cold. Everyone retreat. The Imperial Teacher had no choice but to retreat. Prime Minister Long was poisoned, and his battle power was tied with the Imperial Teacher, which meant that they lost. A draw is equal to a loss, especially for the attacking side. The other side has a dragon and a Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, so how can they win? They have no choice but to retreat. Under the command of the Imperial Teacher, all the soldiers quickly retreated, turned around, and ran away. It can be said that they can't run away as fast as they can. The soldiers who rushed out of the Imperial Teacher's camp were in a killing frenzy. Throw away your weapons, don't kill those who kneel on the ground. Those who don't surrender, kill them. Yi Tianyun shouted, indicating that they should not run away, surrender if they can, and kill those who don't. Under the dragon's roar, many soldiers knelt on the ground, threw their weapons to the side, and no longer dared to run away. They don't want to die here. If they surrender, at least they can live, but if they don't surrender, it's really a dead end. Suddenly, a large number of soldiers knelt on the ground, and no longer ran away. This is really a crushing defeat. Especially the words spoken by Yi Tianyun, with absolute majesty, made many people tremble in fear. They have all seen Yi Tianyun's power, so when he spoke, he must be afraid, especially the last sentence, no one would doubt that he can't do it. After shouting these words, Yi Tianyun turned his body, and quickly chased after them, and said coldly, "Did I say you can go?" Letting these two escape is equivalent to letting a tiger return to the mountain. How can I let them escape? With a twist of his body, he instantly chased after them, and his speed is a bit faster than the imperial teacher, mainly because he has the phoenix wings, which increase his speed more than twice, so naturally he can catch up. Even if he turns into an evil dragon, he can still have the phoenix wings, so there is no conflict. Almost in an instant, he caught up with them, opened his huge mouth, and spat out a black beam of light, penetrating forward. Damn it! Imperial Preceptor's face turned ugly as he used the Netherworld Divine Palm, which was much more powerful than Prime Minister Long's attack, but it was still too weak in the face of Yi Tianyun's attack. Yi Tianyun's palm was easily penetrated, and Imperial Preceptor were bombarded with Netherworld Divine Palm. Boom! The two fell from the sky, and with a bang sound, a big pit was created. Then, a figure bounced out of the big pit. It was the imperial teacher. His body was eroded by the evil dragon Qi, and looked dark. His body flickered with a golden light, as if he had ignited a divine talisman, and covered his whole body. The next moment, his speed increased several times, and he instantly disappeared into the sky, leaving Prime Minister Long behind. Chapter 4:16. Heavenly Speed Divine Talisman. Yi Tianyun's face sank when he saw the Imperial Preceptor running away. He didn't expect the Imperial Preceptor to have a heavenly speed divine talisman. Only a divine rune grandmaster can carve it. It can instantly increase the speed by several times. Although it can only last for a short time, it's enough for him to escape. However, this talisman has a big drawback. If it's used to escape, its speed will be reduced by half. Otherwise, the Imperial Preceptor wouldn't have left Prime Minister Long alone. If he continued to stay here, how could he save the Imperial Preceptor? "Brother Long, I will avenge you." The Imperial Preceptor shouted and quickly disappeared into the sky. Before running away, he didn't forget to leave a sentence behind. It seems like they have a good relationship. However, at this critical moment, if he didn't do this, neither of them would be able to escape. After the Imperial Preceptor escaped, the dragon subduing flag that trapped Yi Tianyun's heavenly dragon lost its connection with it and fell to the ground. At this critical moment, the Imperial Preceptor didn't even have the chance to take away his treasures. At this moment, Prime Minister Long was lying in a big pit. His whole body was corroded by the evil dragon's power and the dragon-slaying poison. He couldn't escape at all. Cough, cough, cough. Prime Minister Long coughed violently. Looking at Yi Tianyun falling from the sky, his eyes were filled with despair. I lost, he lost completely. He brought so many helpers, but most of them died here. Now that he couldn't escape, his heart was filled with despair. Yi Tianyun landed on the ground and walked step by step towards Prime Minister Long. He looked at him coldly. I wanted to kill you, but I think it's better to let Brother Ren deal with you. At this time, Ren Long, Ren Jiro, and the others flew over. They were covered in blood, and it was hard to tell if it was theirs or the enemy's. They had killed many generals, so they didn't just stand there and watch. Looking around, there were corpses everywhere, and the ground was dyed red with blood. They won the battle, but there wasn't much joy. Instead, there was pain. After all, most of them were originally from the Heavenly Dragon Empire. Although they were hateful, they were just cannon fodder. Dragon Soul Sky, to think that we treated you like a real uncle. I never thought that you would be a spy. You have caused great harm to our heavenly dragon empire. Renlong said coldly, today is the day you die. I will use you as a sacrifice to the heavens, or I will let down all the souls of the heavenly dragon empire. Ha ha ha, all of you are too stupid, cough cough cough, kill me, I have lost this time, however, the netherworld will not let you off. Prime Minister Long coughed up a lot of blood, but he still kept a smile on his face. My biggest mistake was that I misjudged your strength. I didn't expect you to have such a strong foreign aid. Cough cough cough. I'm not willing to lose. The Netherworld Empire had so many powerful forces, but they only brought an Imperial Preceptor with them, but they were all annihilated. Under normal circumstances, bringing the Grand Preceptor to deal with them was already a sign of respect. Who knew that there would be a Yi Tianyun? Knowing one's enemy and oneself was the key to victory, but Prime Minister Long knew nothing about Yi Tianyun. Who would have thought that there would be such a heaven-defying existence? No matter how many calculations he made, he still missed 1 point. Just this 1 point alone was enough to make them lose everything. Rest assured, even if the Netherworld Emperor does not let us off, I will not let him off either. I, Renlong, swear to the heavens that if I see the people of the Netherworld Empire, I will kill them without mercy. No matter how many come, I will kill them all. I will not accept any surrender, all of you must die. Renlong was completely furious. The Netherworld Empire's overbearing attitude made them tremble in fear. They even sent a spy to deceive them. After a meticulous plan, he had completely swindled their trust. This was the result, causing the Heavenly Dragon Empire to fall into a crisis, and it had even declined. As Prime Minister Long said, they were stupid. Renlong admitted that from today onwards, he will strengthen his forces to deal with the Netherworld Empire. Ha ha ha, kill as many as you can. What a big tone. The power of the Netherworld Empire is beyond your imagination. Prime Minister Long grinned and laughed. In the face of impending death, he didn't care about his own life anymore. Puchi, a beam of sword light pierced down, piercing his body. It was Renlong's attack. Don't worry, no matter how powerful the Netherworld Empire is, I will sacrifice my life to become the enemy of the Netherworld Empire. I will kill every last one of my soldiers to resist the Netherworld Empire. Renlong said coldly as he released the majesty of a great emperor. Then, with a slash to the side, Prime Minister Long's head was completely separated from his body. His eyes were wide open as he died with grievances. Ding! Successfully killed Prime Minister Long. Reward, 64 million EXP, 50. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SPS, Reward, Netherworld Divine Art, Netherworld Divine Palm. Reward, Dragon God Bloodline, 4th grade, Heavenly Dragon Battle Armor, High Grade Sacred Tool, Heavenly Dragon Divine Sword, High Grade Sacred Tool, Heavenly Dragon Battle Boots, High Grade Sacred Tool, Netherworld Sutra, Rare, Netherworld Passage Map, Rare. A lot of things dropped at once, and the EXP was stacked to the point of exploding, but there was no reward. Obviously, the system felt that Prime Minister Long's cultivation wasn't strong enough, so there was no reward. At this time, the surroundings were very quiet, and a large number of soldiers were looking at them. Clean up the Netherworld Empire's soldiers. Renlong said coldly. Run. At this time, the Netherworld Empire's soldiers ran away. Even if they weren't the masterminds of the Netherworld Empire and were just cannon fodder, they still had to be killed. Especially since the Netherworld Empire's soldiers had killed a lot of their people. For a time, screams could be heard, and the large-scale killing continued. But it didn't last long. All the Netherworld Empire's soldiers were cleaned up, and all that was left was a pile of corpses. Ding! Successfully completed, help the Empire's goddess resist Prime Minister Long's invasion. Reward, 50 million EXP, 100. 000 CPS, 50 Imperial Favorability. Reward, successfully killed Prime Minister Long, doubled. Ding! Reward, 100 million EXP, 2000. 000 CPS, 100 Imperial Favorability. All of a sudden, his stats doubled, and he had accumulated 100 million EXP. In the blink of an eye, he only had a few tens of millions of EXP left to level up. This leveling speed was simply astonishing. At this rate, it wouldn't be difficult to break through to Void Spirit stage. Chapter 4:17. The war finally calmed down. The Heavenly Dragon Empire had won. This news spread throughout the Heavenly Dragon continent. It even spread to the Heavenly Boundary continent and the Nether continent. They were all shocked. Especially under the leadership of the Imperial Teacher, the Heavenly Dragon Empire and the Netherworld continent were shocked. The Imperial Teacher was the second strongest person in the Netherworld Empire, but he was still defeated. What kind of power did the Heavenly Dragon Empire have? However, there was still a lot of shocking news. For example, there were 3 people who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, and one of them could turn into a dragon. The more it spread, the more exaggerated it became. In the end, it was said that there were dozens of people who could control the Heavenly Dragon's secret treasure, and they even had the support of the Dragon Clan. The Heavenly Dragon Empire had become a legend. It was exaggerated to say that the Heavenly Dragon Empire was much stronger than the Netherworld Empire and that it would be easy for the Netherworld Empire to suppress it. These words were exaggerated enough to make the Netherworld Empire explode in anger. In fact, he was furious. After the Imperial Advisor returned, the Netherworld Emperor was thoroughly enraged. He was 10 times, or even 100 times more furious than before. Little brother Long is dead? The Netherworld Great Emperor was extremely furious. He clenched his fists and his heart was filled with anger. The terrifying power released from his body was the best proof. It could be said that he had suppressed his power to the extreme, and there was still a bit of it leaking out. The ground around him was shaken by this terrifying power, causing cracks to appear and debris to fly. Otherwise, the surrounding area would have exploded from the pressure. The people below were terrified. They hadn't seen the Netherworld Great Emperor so angry in a long time. Yes, it's my fault. The enemy was too strong. I couldn't resist his attack even if I used all my strength. The Imperial Preceptor's face was pale and looked even paler than before. Especially from his aura, it was obvious that he was much weaker than before. You couldn't resist him even if you used all your strength? The Netherworld Emperor was surprised. He knew how strong the Imperial Teacher was. If the Imperial Teacher couldn't resist him, it meant that the enemy was much stronger than him. Yes, but it's mostly because I wasn't prepared. I was careless and my soul was injured. Otherwise, I would have brought Brother Long back. The Imperial Teacher was ashamed. He sighed deeply. His eyes were full of shame, but he did try his best. I know. It seems like I have to go personally. The Netherworld Emperor stood up and said angrily. Your Majesty, you can't do this. If you go personally, we will be in chaos. The Imperial Teacher's face changed. But who can avenge Brother Long? Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes are filled with killing intent. He is my younger brother. My younger brother is dead. How can I face him if I don't avenge him? Prime Minister Long was the younger brother of the Netherworld Great Emperor. If this news spread out, it would definitely set off a great uproar. Sending a spy, but it turned out to be the younger brother of the Netherworld Great Emperor. You must suppress it. You are only one step away from obtaining the power of the Nether Dragon. As long as you can obtain this power, the Heavenly Dragon Empire will be a piece of cake. Imperial Preceptor advised. Just a little bit more, Great Emperor, don't be impulsive. Your Majesty, as long as you break through the dragon power, the Netherworld Emperor, the Netherworld will. One by one, the ministers began to persuade the Netherworld Great Emperor to not act rashly. Damn it, Brother Long. The Netherworld Emperor shook his head and said in a deep voice, "If Brother Long didn't say that he wanted to bring back the Heavenly Dragon Empire in one piece, I would have personally led the Netherworld army to kill them. Even the Heavenly Dragon Empire can't resist my Netherworld army." Now they were all silent. Prime Minister Long had sneaked in to take down the Heavenly Dragon Empire in one piece. The Netherworld Empire was very strong, but if they conquered the Heavenly Dragon Empire, they would also become half-crippled, which was very disadvantageous to the Netherworld Empire. That was why they came up with this plan. Who knew that an unforeseen event would occur, causing most of them to die there? It was truly shocking. Who would have thought? Everyone thought that their plan was perfect, and they all thought that the Heavenly Dragon Empire didn't have any powerful forces, and they thought that they could conquer it at any time. In reality, a super expert appeared out of nowhere, and it was a super expert who could fight against everyone. We have neglected this point, but this time, we will not neglect it. As long as the Great Emperor obtains the power of the Nether Dragon, everything will be fine. Not to mention the Heavenly Dragon Empire, even the surrounding empires will be in your pocket. At that time, you will become a 5th-grade divine kingdom without any pressure. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes were full of excitement and expectation. Divine kingdom. The Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes were full of yearning. After reaching the level of divine kingdom, they would enter a whole new realm. But they had only heard about this realm, and they didn't know much about it. Because the divine kingdom wasn't located in this area, but in the sky. Alright, when we are fully prepared, and when I obtain the power of the Nether Dragon, I will conquer the Heavenly Boundary Continent and the Heavenly Dragon Empire. The Netherworld Great Emperor's eyes were shining with anticipation. While the Imperial Preceptor was planning everything, Yi Tianyun had already cleaned up the corpses outside. The mission here was already completed, and there was no other mission. There is no chain mission. What a pity. Jiro didn't become the Divine Lady. Yi Tianyun frowned. Jiro could only be regarded as a princess. But there was no mission, and it didn't matter whether she was the Divine Lady or not. It was very likely that she would become the Divine Lady in the future, and Renlong would pass the throne to her. Brother Yi, what are you doing here? Renlong walked out of the hall and saw Yi Tianyun standing outside the palace, so he walked over and asked. It's nothing, I'm just here to take a look. Finally, everything is back to normal. Yi Tianyun smiled. Yes, everything is back to normal. I don't know if the Netherworld Great Emperor will personally lead the army here, but no matter how many people come, we will deal with them. Renlong smiled, and his eyes were full of gratitude. If it wasn't for you, we would have fallen. You are really the savior of our Heavenly Dragon Empire. I feel that even without me, the Heavenly Dragon Empire can still hold on, right? Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. It can still hold on, but there is a price to pay. For example, my life. Renlong smiled and said. If one day I am gone, can you become the Great Emperor of the Heavenly Dragon Empire? Brother Ren, you can't say such things. How can anything happen to you? Yi Tianyun shook his head. It's hard to say. I'm just saying in advance that you are more qualified to become the Great Emperor. I don't have the ambition to become the Great Emperor, I prefer to explore the world without any worries. Renlong looked at Yi Tianyun and said firmly. Brother Yi, can you agree to my request? Chapter 418. Yi Tianyun was stunned by Renlong's request. He didn't expect Renlong to dislike being the Great Emperor so much. There were many people who wanted to sit in this position, but Renlong didn't want to continue sitting in this position. He wanted to travel around the world. Renlong had to admit that exploring the outside world was more exciting. There was no freedom in this place. There was no freedom in this place. I'm afraid I won't be able to comply. In fact, I'm not too keen on these things. It's better to let Jiro do it. As the Divine Lady, she can manage the Heavenly Dragon Empire properly. Yi Tianyun pushed the responsibility to Renjiro. Oh, I almost forgot, there's still my little sister. Ren Long's eyes lit up. Alright, I'll talk to her. With her current prestige, becoming the Divine Lady won't be a problem. Let her become the Divine Lady first. After succeeding the throne, she can slowly manage this place. When everything calms down, I can leave this place and travel around. Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly. Is this how a great emperor should act? No wonder he said that as long as someone was capable enough, he would give up the position of great emperor. This guy didn't want to be the great emperor at all. Of course he was willing to say such words. The Ren family's empire was given away just like that. What a wastrel. Brother Ren, is this really okay? Yi Tianyun felt helpless. There's nothing wrong with it. I've always liked to travel around the world. Exploring the outside world is full of dangers. This way, I can become stronger. Ren Long said in a deep voice, what I pursue is the endless world of martial arts, not this world of power. Just like Brother Yi, power and authority are all bullshit in front of you. This was the kind of feeling he yearned for. All schemes and plots were futile in front of him, and he could kill anyone who stood in his way with a single punch. If one punch can't solve it, then 2 punches. If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble Jiro. Yi Tianyun felt helpless. But he also thought of Shi Shuyan, his aunt. His heart warmed. Wasn't she also cultivating her own forces for his own safety? This is indeed unfair to her. If she doesn't want to do it, then she won't do it. It's just the position of a god monarch, what's so great about it? Ren Long shrugged nonchalantly. If his parents were here, they would surely give him a tight slap. Alright. Yi Tianyun could only reply like this. Alright, I'll go talk to my little sister first. Ren Long smiled and turned around to look for Renjiro. Suddenly, he remembered something and said, oh, right, I almost forgot to tell you. Su Fei, who was with you before, went to the Qin family. Young people these days are so hot-blooded. He was so brave on the battlefield. After the battle, he left without saying goodbye. I think he's trying to avoid you. Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes and pondered for a while. During the battle, Su Fei didn't hide somewhere and cultivate. Instead, he fought bravely and valiantly. Moreover, he fought at the very front. He had been able to observe Su Fei's situation from afar, but Su Fei had quickly left after the battle without looking for him. As Ren Long said, it was very likely that Su Fei was trying to avoid him. This kid is thinking too much. Yi Tianyun suddenly smiled as if he had understood something. It's not that he's thinking too much, it's just that the disparity in status and strength is too great. He felt that he couldn't help you, so he didn't dare to continue to approach you. Ren Long patted Yi Tianyun's shoulder and said with a smile, he is indeed good. He led a small team to fight bravely. Brother Yi, you have a good eye. After saying that, Ren Long left and didn't continue to stay. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. It was almost time for him to go back to the Heavenly Clouds mansion, but before that, he had to find Su Fei to go with him. Qin family? It seems to be lively. I have to go and have a look. Yi Tianyun smiled and disappeared from the hall. After the war, the Heavenly Dragon Empire had not suffered many losses, so everything was the same as before. Everything was still going on, and the whole nation was celebrating. The Qin family's situation was the same. Everything was the same as usual. However, at this time, a figure came to the Qin family's gate. Before the guards could react, someone shouted at the Qin family, Qin Shui, I'm here to pick you up. He shouted very loudly, and even the entire Qin clan heard him. Many people rushed out from inside, and when they saw Su Fei outside, their faces were filled with anger. You brat, you still don't want to give up. Our master said before that eldest miss can't marry you. She has decided to marry the young master of the Fu family. An elder of the Qin family came out and glared at him. Go where you should go. If you weren't the young master of the Su family, you would have already kicked us out. Qin Shui, I'm here to pick you up. Su Fei ignored them and continued to shout. You brat, it seems like you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. If I don't beat you up, I won't know what I should do. An elder of the Qin family came out of the gate angrily. Just when he was about to beat Su Fei up, a shout came from inside. Second elder, please stop. At this time, a beautiful woman came out. She might not be a stunning beauty, but she looked very delicate. She belonged to the type that was more and more beautiful to look at. Xiao Shui. When Su Fei saw the woman coming out, his eyes were filled with surprise. Brother Su. Qin Shui's beautiful eyes flashed with tears, but she was still worried. Why are you here, Xiao Shui? I can't wait anymore. If the Qin family marries you to the Fu family, it will be too late for me. Su Fei said in a deep voice. This time, I am sure that I can marry you. Really? Qin Shui's beautiful eyes revealed a look of surprise. Her heart couldn't help but speed up a bit. What a joke. How can you be sure that you can marry our eldest miss? The second elder sneered. You don't have talent, you don't have status. Even in the Su family, your status is very low. Now let me ask you, what qualifications do you have? I am willing to use this treasure to exchange for it. Suddenly, Su Fei brought out a pearl. When everyone saw it, they were immediately taken aback. It was a low-grade sacred artifact. It was quite a decent treasure. This is a low-grade sacred artifact, the Holy Spirit's pearl. If you use it to cultivate, it can double your cultivation speed. I originally wanted to keep it for my own use, and when my cultivation is not low, I will come back to marry you. Now, I am willing to use this treasure as a betrothal gift to marry Xiao Shui. Double the speed of cultivation, this is really a good sacred artifact, most people don't have this kind of treasure. This is a treasure that only void spirit stage cultivators can have, many people are very tempted. A little interesting, this kid's luck is not bad, he got this treasure. A figure appeared in the corner, watching the whole process. He didn't appear immediately, he wanted to see how Su Fei would take down Qin Shui. It can be seen that both of them love each other, this is the only way to help. If it is forced, even if he thinks highly of Su Fei, he will not choose to help. Now that Su Fei is a general that he thinks highly of, he must help when necessary, with King Yi's identity. Chapter 419. The Holy Spirit's pearl was a very good betrothal gift. If it was a normal family, they wouldn't be able to refuse it. Sacred tools were very rare, and most of them were at the void spirit stage. Most families didn't even have a void spirit stage powerhouse, so this thing was definitely qualified to be used as a betrothal gift. That was especially true for treasures. They were much more precious than the average sacred artifacts. No wonder Su Fei said that he was confident that he could use this Holy Spirit's pearl as a betrothal gift. The effect of this thing was amazing, and he was willing to give it to Qin Shui. One could imagine how much he loved Qin Shui. This is a sacred treasure. The second elder's face changed. He didn't expect that Su Fei would take out such a precious gift. One should know that this was a treasure that even the head of the Su family couldn't take out, but Su Fei took it out. It was really shocking. The other elders who came out with Su Fei saw this and their faces changed. Their eyes were filled with greed. This was also a great benefit for them. It could double their cultivation speed. How could they not want it? Yes, this is a sacred treasure. If I use this Holy Spirit's pearl, I will be able to break through much faster than ordinary people. It won't be difficult for me to break through to the core transformation stage. Su Fei raised the Holy Spirit's pearl in his hand and looked at Qin Shui. But recently, I heard that you are planning to marry Xiao Shui to the Fu family immediately. Just because the Fu family has made a lot of contributions this time, you want to let Xiao Shui marry to the Fu family immediately. But Xiao Shui is not a commodity, and she is not a tool for your marriage. If you really want something as compensation, I will use this Holy Spirit's pearl to make up for your loss. Su Fei's words were sonorous and powerful. His eyes were full of divine light. He would rather give up the Holy Spirit's pearl for Qin Shui to be with him. Qin Shui covered her mouth with her hand. She didn't want to be a tool for the marriage. She only wanted to be with Su Fei. But she couldn't decide her own marriage. This is not enough. At this time, a handsome middle-aged man walked out. Qin Shui's appearance was similar to his. Obviously, he was the head of the Qin family, Qin Long. Father. Qin Shui saw Qin Long come out and stood aside in fear. Qin Long didn't even look at her. He looked at Su Fei with a burning gaze and said in a low voice, "The Holy Spirit pearl is not bad, but what do you think is the main factor that allows a family to prosper? Treasures are one thing, but the most important thing is support. You might be able to give us treasures that are more precious than the betrothal gifts given by the Fu family, but you can't protect us because your cultivation is too low. Unless your cultivation is very strong, at least at the core transformation stage. It would have been fine if the Su family had given you their full support, but now that the Su family has abandoned you, do you still think you have the right to marry my daughter?" Qin Long's words were like a sharp thorn that pierced into his heart. Qin Long's heart. Qin Long needed Qin Spirit's pearl. Holy Spirit's bead was good, but if he didn't have the sect's king gift. Spirits of treasure. Qin, but if not, people, to, Ently can sect, Leet. If Qin Shui married into the Fu family, her status wouldn't be low. Therefore, she would be able to help the Qin family. This was what Qin Long needed. Qin Shui's status would not be low if she married into the Fu family. This was the real intention of the Qin family. Su Fei was silent. His eyes were red and he gritted his teeth. Su Fei fell silent. His eyes were red and he gritted his teeth. He had thought that he could marry Qin Shui by relying on the Heavenly Spirit's pearl, but it seemed like he was too naive. "Give me some time, I will definitely have the power to protect the Qin family." Su Fei gritted his teeth and said. "Give me some time. How many years? 5 years? 10 years? Qin Long sneered. "It will be too long. I will marry Qin Shui and you will see the results immediately. Unless you can convince the Su family to fully support you and have a position in the family, I will let Qin Shui marry you. But do you have the status now? Which brother is not stronger than you? You have no right to speak, otherwise you wouldn't have run away from the marriage. You are so useless." Qin Long shook his head and looked at Su Fei as if he was looking at a piece of trash. "Father, enough. If Brother Su didn't save me, I would have died outside." Qin Shui glared at her father and shouted hysterically, "You promised me to give Brother Su some time. I didn't expect you to go back on your words." "Shut up." Qin Long snorted, "It's one thing for him to save you, but I won't allow you to marry a piece of trash who can't bring any benefits to the Qin family." Calling Su Fei a piece of trash was an insult to Su Fei. "Su Fei, you really are here." At this time, a group of people came from afar. The leader was the Su family's patriarch, Su Ji. Behind him were Su Fei's brothers. When they saw the Holy Spirit's bead in Su Fei's hand, they were stunned for a moment before greed appeared in their eyes. "Is this a sacred item?" Su Ji was pleasantly surprised. "When did you get it?" "Father, this is my betrothal gift to the Qin family." Su Fei said, "Father, please support me and let me marry the young lady of the Qin family." "Are you an idiot? This is a sacred item. If you give it to your brother, you can marry any woman you want." Su Ji said coldly, "Hurry up and come back with me. It's not worth it to use this sacred item to exchange for a woman." Patriarch Su, Are you saying that my daughter is not worth a sacred item? Qin Long was immediately angered. Isn't that for sure? If you have the ability, why don't you take out a sacred item and let me see? Su Ji sneered, blocking Qin Long's words. Qin Long indeed couldn't take out a sacred item. The Qin family didn't have a sacred item. They wanted a sacred item, but they wanted the Fu family's support even more. The patriarchs of the two families quarreled, but Su Fei's eyes were still filled with sorrow and anger. He didn't expect his father to not support him and even wanted to take away his sacred item for his brother to use. One had to know that he risked his life to get this sacred item back, but now he was going to give it away. Although he wasn't an outsider, his words were infuriating. As expected, there was no place for him in the Su family. Out of so many brothers, he was the weakest, so it was natural that he was abandoned. Don't just stand there, come back with me and give me this sacred item. Su Ji snatched it, but Su Fei quickly dodged, not letting his father snatch it. You dare to dodge, believe it or not, I'll beat you to death. Su Ji said coldly. This is what I obtained, why should I give it away? Su Fei glared at them and said, from today onwards, I'm no longer a member of the Su family. After saying that, he turned around and wanted to escape, but soon the Su family members surrounded him, blocking his escape route. Even if you're not a member of the Su family, you still have to hand over the sacred item. Su Ji stretched out his hand and looked at him coldly. Su Fei's eyes were filled with sorrow. He didn't expect that in the end, the ones who forced him to his death would be his own family. Chapter 420. A figure walked out from the crowd and attracted everyone's attention. The tone of the voice was not harsh, but the content of the voice was very domineering. Many people turned their heads to look. Su Ji and the others glared angrily, wanting to see who was so arrogant. When Qin Long and the others looked over, they were immediately stunned, not daring to believe their eyes. After blinking a few times, their eyes were filled with shock. Prince Yi. When they saw Yi Tianyun, they couldn't help but shout. Yi Tianyun's identity was known to everyone. Who didn't know that the person who repelled the Netherworld Empire was Yi Tianyun? If it wasn't for him, the entire Heavenly Dragon Empire would have fallen. The Fu family's contribution was nothing but a pile of shit in front of him. When Su Fei saw Yi Tianyun, he was stunned for a moment. He immediately lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun walked towards Su Fei step by step. The people in front of him made way for him. Yi Tianyun patted Su Fei's shoulder and said, why didn't you tell me if you were in trouble? Big brother Yi. The gap between us is too big. I thought I could help you, but I realized that I'm not worthy. Su Fei lowered his head and said. There's no such thing as worthy. If I think you're capable, then you're capable. If you think you're weak, then you're really weak. If you don't have confidence, then how can you talk about success? Yi Tianyun smiled. Can I really help big brother Yi? Su Fei raised his head, his eyes filled with surprise. Of course you can. Otherwise, why would I give you a fortune? Yi Tianyun smiled and said, this time, I came to take you away. I didn't expect this to happen. Sometimes, I do feel very powerless, powerless without power, powerless without background. Yes. Su Fei sighed. This was a huge blow to him. That's why I have to work harder and make myself stronger. Only then will I be able to change everything. Yi Tianyun patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile, sometimes connections are indeed the key. Qin family head is right, but now you have connections, what are you afraid of? The conversation between the two of them left everyone dumbfounded. Su Fei actually knew King Yi, and their relationship seemed to be quite good. Did King Yi recognize him? Yi Tianyun looked up at Qin Long and said indifferently, didn't you say that Su Fei has no background? I'm his backer now. Is that enough? Enough, enough. Qin Long felt his legs go soft. He quickly half-knelt on the ground and said, "Welcome, Your Highness. Welcome, welcome, Your Highness." At this moment, the surrounding people all knelt down in unison in fear and trepidation, especially those from the Su clan. Their hearts skipped a beat. He didn't expect that Su Fei would be acquainted with the prince, and their relationship was quite good. They all knew about Yi Tianyun's situation. He was facing the entire empire alone, and everyone was afraid of him. With just a little anger, a family could be easily trampled to the ground. "You don't have to kneel. Get up." Yi Tianyun waved his hand at Qin Shui and said with a faint smile, "Why aren't you coming over?" Qin Shui was stunned. When she looked at Su Fei beside her, she bit her lips and quickly jogged over, throwing herself into his arms. Qin Long didn't even dare to stop her. This was the difference in status, and this was the backer. Su Fei deeply understood the difference in power. He was even more determined to become stronger. If he didn't become stronger, he wouldn't have any right to speak at all. "After I go back, I'll tell the emperor about the situation and take good care of the Qin clan." Yi Tianyun said indifferently, "You all just think that you've offended the emperor by staying neutral. That's not wrong. You want to marry into the Fu clan to appease the emperor and not eradicate you all. This is indeed a good idea, and the truth is more or less the same. Even if you marry into the Fu clan, are you sure the Fu clan has the power to do that?" This. Qin Long was embarrassed. Yi Tianyun's words hit the nail on the head. This was what Qin Long didn't say. The treasure was indeed good, but they had committed a great taboo. If they wanted to stay here, they had to clear their name. Staying neutral seemed good, but they had offended both sides at the same time. This was even worse. Therefore, they wanted to plead through the Fu clan, but it was obviously meaningless. Ren Long didn't buy it at all. This time, the Fu clan had done a meritorious deed, but it was only a small part of it. The real meritorious deed was Yi Tianyun, not the Fu clan. "I'll talk to the emperor. You can rest assured. In the future, as long as the Qin clan doesn't rebel, and doesn't do anything, you can live peacefully in the Heavenly Dragon Empire." Yi Tianyun said indifferently, "Can I bring my people away now?" "Yes, yes, you can." When Qin Long heard the result he wanted, he immediately beamed with joy. His daughter said she would send them away. The key was to marry Su Fei, and Su Fei seemed to want to follow Yi Tianyun. Wouldn't the Qin clan be happy? "The two of you leave with me, there's no need to stay here," Yi Tianyun said to Su Fei and the others. "Yes, big brother Yi." Su Fei stared at Yi Tianyun's back with a firm gaze, as if he has made up his mind. When they were about to leave, Su Ji hurriedly shouted, "Su Fei, our Su clan will always open the door for you, and wait for you to come back." "No need, I won't go back," Su Fei said coldly. Even if it was his own father, he wouldn't give him any face. Su Ji's face was very ugly, and his intestines were green with regret. Who would have thought that this kind of situation would occur? How could her worst son be acquainted with the prince? The more he thought about it, the more he was depressed, and he wanted to vomit blood. "Are you sure you won't go back?" Yi Tianyun asked. "I won't go back. Ever since he killed my mother, I hate him." Su Fei said coldly, "I'd rather not recognize him as my father." "So that's what you mean?" Yi Tianyun shook his head. "As a family head, it's normal to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but if there are too many wives and too many children, it will lead to an uneven distribution." When they didn't go far, Su Fei suddenly knelt down, and Qin Shui next to him also knelt down. "Big brother Yi, I, Su Fei, will follow you forever, no matter what you ask me to do, even if it's against the heavens, I will do it. My life will belong to Big brother Yi from now on," Su Fei said with determination. Qin Shui didn't say anything, but it was obvious that if she married a chicken, she would follow the chicken. If she married a dog, she would follow the dog. She would follow whatever Su Fei did. Ding, successfully subdued an absolutely loyal general, increase commander point by 100 points. With the improvement of cultivation, you can continue to gain EXP, never stop. When you kill an enemy, you can get corresponding rewards, including EXP, crazy point, and sin point. Accompanied by the crisp sound, Yi Tianyun was stunned. Is there really such a thing? Loyal general, in the future, he can get EXP when he improves his cultivation. Killing an enemy can also get EXP. Isn't this the same as a pet? Chapter 421. The system also added a commander reward, which was quite amazing. He didn't expect that he could get beheading EXP. When his forces fought for him, it was already good enough for him to get overall EXP. Now, the commander system was equivalent to a pet. He could constantly get EXP, and after leveling up, he could also get EXP as a reward. It was really unexpected. It was even better than a pet. He wouldn't get anything from leveling up, nor would he think on his own. He needed to be the one controlling it. The only way to level up was to rely on the commander's help. He saw that Su Fei's favorability towards him had disappeared. There was an infinite sign, which meant that he didn't need the favorability anymore. Su Fei was absolutely loyal to him, so why would he need favorability? They completely obeyed his orders and were at his beck and call. Even if they had to climb a mountain of blades or plunge into a sea of flames, there would be no problem. Although Shi Shuayun and the others were willing to sacrifice their lives for him, it didn't mean that they were his subordinates, so this situation wouldn't happen. Su Fei was his first subordinate, which was why he knew of such a situation. It seems that if I collect more generals, it will be more helpful for me to level up. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up, especially the reward for leveling up. It was equivalent to a training system. He could see the reward every time, and it would never stop. Although he didn't know how much the reward would be, he believed that it would definitely be a lot. However, it was not easy to collect generals like him. Immediately, Yi Tianyun smiled and motioned them to get up. Okay, now whether it is the Qin family or the Su family, there is no place for you. If you are willing to follow me, then you will have to join Heavenly Cloud's mansion. Heavenly Cloud's mansion? They were a little confused as they had never heard of this Heavenly Cloud's mansion. Yes, Heavenly Cloud's mansion. Yi Tianyun smiled and took off the mask on his face, revealing his true face. When they were shocked, he put it back on. Heavenly Cloud's mansion is a force that I built, and Heavenly Clouds is my name. My real name is Yi Tianyun. That was my real face just now. This. Big brother Yi, you are really young, even younger than me. Su Fei smiled bitterly as he didn't expect that Yi Tianyun's true face would be so young. Not many people know my true face, but I don't want to wear this mask anymore. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. He is strong enough, naturally he doesn't need to wear a mask. Then, under his lead, they returned to the royal city and briefed Renlong and the others on the matter, as well as the plan they had come up with. Renlong and the others listened to Yi Tianyun's plan and joined him to deal with the Netherworld Empire. Yi Tianyun originally wanted to deal with the Netherworld, so it was to have a few more forces to join him. After the discussion, Yi Tianyun led Su Fei and the others to Heavenly Cloud's mansion, while Renlong and the others stayed in the mansion and waited for Yi Tianyun's arrival. Yi, Long and the E. T, and to E, and 10 that E to the sect to the eat the war. To him, the main reason why so many experts came was to defend against the enemies that surrounded them, not to kill their way into the enemy's midst. Soon, they returned to the Heavenly Cloud's mansion. When they landed, Yi Tianyun had already taken off his mask. Soon, they returned to Heavenly Cloud's mansion. When they landed from the sky, he had already taken off his mask, so there was no need to hide anything. When the people of Heavenly Cloud's mansion saw a giant dragon descending from the sky, they looked at it in shock. How could they not be shocked and a giant dragon suddenly appeared out of nowhere? But when they saw that it was Yi Tianyun, they relaxed their vigilance. "Auntie, we are back," Yi Tianyun said as he walked in with Su Fei. "Hey, we brought back a man and a woman this time." "I thought we brought back a group of people," Shi Shuiyun said with a smile when she saw Yi Tianyun came back safely. "I wanted to bring back a group of people, but I didn't bring back a group of people this time." Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. "He is Su Fei, the first general of Heavenly Cloud's mansion from now on. He will be the vanguard of the Heavenly Cloud's mansion." Yi Tianyun was flattered that Su Fei was appointed as the first general of Heavenly Cloud's mansion. However, he didn't refuse. Instead, he showed a serious expression and said that he would do his best. "That's not a problem. What are we going to do now?" Shi Shuiyun asked. "Summon all the disciples and prepare to fly the heavens immersing ancient ruins to Heavenly Border Continent," Yi Tianyun said solemnly. "We will officially fly to Heavenly Border Continent and merge with Heaven's top mansion." "Isn't that equivalent to exposing us?" Shi Shuiyun was surprised. The other elders who came with them were also surprised when they heard the news. "Don't worry, it will happen sooner or later. Everything is under control," Yi Tianyun said with a smile. "Tell the spirit race old ancestor to prepare the flying grand array." "No problem." Shi Shuiyun and the others didn't hesitate and immediately followed Yi Tianyun's order. Soon after the spirit race old ancestor received the news, he didn't hesitate and immediately activated the flying grand array. The whole mountain emitted a bright light, followed by a rumbling sound, as if an earthquake is about to happen. Immediately, the whole surface of the mountain cracked, accompanied by a bang sound. A temple rushed out of the mountain and flew high into the sky. An incomparably huge shrine floated in the air just like that. Especially since this shrine had been expanded, it looked incomparably shocking. "Very good, there is no problem, then fly to Heavenly Border Continent now." Yi Tianyun gave the order. The spirit race old ancestor and the flying grand array began to operate madly. The whole temple once again bloomed with dazzling light, turning into a round sun, flying towards Heavenly Border Continent. The speed is not very fast, but also not very slow. It only takes a few days to reach Heavenly Border Continent smoothly. It's just that flying along the way will be very conspicuous. How many people have seen a flying palace before? At most, they have seen flying demon beasts. Almost none of them have seen a flying palace. In fact, flying palaces are not unusual in fourth-grade forces, they are quite common. Under normal circumstances, the palace will not move, unless the chosen place is destroyed or the spiritual vein is exhausted, otherwise it will not move. Chapter 422. The news of a huge palace flying to the Heavenly Border Continent immediately caused a sensation in the Earthly Border Continent. It even spread to the Heavenly Border Continent, causing a lot of people to talk about it. What kind of force could have such a powerful background and a flying palace? However, this matter wasn't as shocking as the Netherworld Empire's defeat at the hands of the Heavenly Dragon Empire. They were just curious about it, but they didn't feel particularly shocked. The Netherworld Empire didn't have time to inquire about this matter. If they knew that the master of Heavenly Cloud's mansion was King Yi who killed their Prime Minister Long, they would definitely attack. Yi Tianyun's identity was very secretive. The identity of the Black Dragon was rarely exposed in the past, but most of the time, it was only known to the disciples of Heavenly Cloud's mansion, so the Netherworld Empire wouldn't be able to find out anything. Because of this, Yi Tianyun brazenly let the Heavenly Cloud's mansion fly to the Heavenly Border Continent. The Netherworld Empire didn't have time to occupy it, so it was a completely safe place. After flying for a few days, the heavens immersing ancient ruins quickly flew to the heaven's top mansion. Yi Tianyun chose an open space on the side and landed heavily on it, making a bang sound. Many disciples of Heaven's top mansion rushed out to watch, including the elders of Heaven's top mansion, but the Great Elder and the others didn't come out. The main reason was that the outside world said that they were dead, so they couldn't even tell their own disciples about it. Yang Yu, He Qianhan, and the others came out. When they saw Yi Tianyun coming out, they were all stunned. They didn't expect that the person who landed with a palace was their mansion lord. This. He Qianhan didn't know whether she should call Yi Tianyun mansion lord or not. Yi Tianyun's identity couldn't be exposed, but now it was exposed in front of everyone. Hey, boss. Yang Yu was shocked when she saw Yi Tianyun coming out of the palace. Just when everyone thought that it was an expert, they found out that it was Yi Tianyun, a disciple of the Heavenly Rune Pavilion. They didn't know where they went. They didn't expect that they would suddenly appear and come out of this huge palace. Yi Tianyun nodded with a smile and said to Yi Qianhan, "There's no need to hide it anymore, let them come out." Yi Qianhan was startled for a second, then ran back to Heaven's top mansion. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what happened. Yi Tianyun turned to Shi Shuayan and said, "From today onwards, this place belongs to Heavenly Cloud's mansion." "Is this Heaven's top mansion, the old ancestors' sect?" Shi Shuayan and the others turned their heads and looked around to see how the environment was. The overall environment here was not bad. It might not be comparable to some of the top sects, but it was considered good among the third-grade forces. The disciples of Heaven's top mansion were confused, they didn't know what was going on, but they saw people coming out one after another, and the elders didn't stop them. Why would the elders stop him? They all knew that Yi Tianyun was the manor head. What authority did they have to stop him? They were happy to see so many experts coming out, so why would they stop them? Soon, the great elder, Mu Xian, and the others came out from the palace, but they were shocked when they saw the scene before them. According to the rumors in the outside world, they should have died a long time ago. How could they still appear here? The death of Mu Xian, and the others made the disciples of Heaven's top mansion sad for a while, especially the great elder, who had a good personality. Now that they suddenly appeared here, they were dumbfounded. Great elder. Mu Xian, you. They were all shocked, speechless. They felt that this was too inconceivable. After experiencing such ups and downs, they didn't know what to say. Sorry to make you sad, but in fact, we didn't die. The manor head escaped with us, but because he was afraid of being chased by the Netherworld Empire, he hid it. The great elder explained. Manor head? They were confused. Wasn't the manor head crippled? How could he still save people? In fact, this is the current manor head. He will officially take office after some time, but we didn't expect the incident in Dragon Gathering City to happen, so we didn't say it out loud. The great elder smiled and said. Now that the manor head said that it's okay, we can announce it to the public. The great elder pointed at Yi Tianyun and said that he was the manor head. This news shocked them even more. Wasn't he a disciple of Heavenly Rune Pavilion? How did he suddenly become the manor head? They couldn't wrap their heads around this news. They were so shocked by it that they couldn't speak. A newly joined disciple had suddenly become a manor head. Anyone would be shocked by this. Yes, I am the manor head, the previous manor head gave this position to me, so I am officially the manor head of Heaven's top mansion. Yi Tianyun said. I will lead Heaven's top mansion to glory. But before that, I want to announce one thing, Heaven's top mansion has officially merged with Heavenly Cloud's mansion, becoming Heaven's pole sect in Heavenly Cloud's mansion. There is also Spirit Gate and Heavenly Jade Gate here. From now on, they will be your fellow disciples. Yi Tianyun signaled the people of Spirit Race and Heavenly Jade Gate to come out. When they saw the people of Spirit Race, they were stunned. The Spirit Race was in an uproar because they didn't know where they were transferred to, they didn't expect that they would be here. Everyone may not be very clear about this, so let me briefly introduce it. The great elder coughed and explained. The manor head's cultivation is at Core Transformation Realm, he killed the ministers of Netherworld Empire in Dragon Gathering City. The manor head protected the spirit race from the invasion of the spirit race, and he also killed General Long and General Feng. Do you understand? The Great Elder didn't know whether it was Yi Tianyun or Heavenly Dragon Empire, so he didn't explain it. However, this was enough to shock them to the point of speechlessness. The words that came out one after another left them flabbergasted. They didn't know what to say, and for a moment, they were unable to digest this content. The shock was too strong for them, one after another. It's normal for them to be speechless. During the explanation, the system's voice finally popped up. Successfully completed main quest, make Jade Sect strong, upgrade Heavenly Jade Sect to Heavenly Jade Mansion and transfer it to Heavenly Border Continent. Reward, 100 million EXP, 1 million Crazy Point, 100. 000 Proficiency, can be allocated to martial arts or mastery, 100. 000 Sin Point, HP *1. Because of the merger of many forces and the creation of a new sect, the reward is doubled. Reward, 200 million EXP, 2 million Crazy Point, 200. 000 Proficiency, 200. 000 Sin Point, HP *2. Chapter 423. The rewards had been doubled. This was something that he had not expected. Everything had been doubled. This was shocking enough. His EXP became 200 million, in fact, it was not a big deal, but the rewards were doubled. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to first level Void Spirit stage. After getting so many rewards, Yi Tianyun finally broke through to Void Spirit stage, a cultivation level that most cultivators dream of, and now he broke through to Void Spirit stage. If it was a normal cultivator breaking through to Void Spirit stage, it would definitely cause a commotion, but for Yi Tianyun, it looked very normal. No one knew that he had broken through. Ding! Successfully accepted main quest, destroy the Netherworld Empire, kill the Netherworld Great Emperor. Reward, 500. 000 EXP, 5. 000 Crazy Point, 500. 000 Mastery, assign anywhere, 500. 000 Sin Point, and the title, Punisher. After completing the main quest, there was no quest to upgrade the Netherworld Empire. Instead, there was a quest to destroy the Netherworld Empire. Yi Tianyun didn't expect that the next main quest would be to destroy the Netherworld Empire. It seems that even the system wants him to destroy the Netherworld Empire. This reward was even better, it was 5 times more than the previous main quest. Yi Tianyun knew that the higher the reward, the higher the difficulty. It seems that the Netherworld Empire still has a strong hidden force after so many of its generals were eradicated. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. If that was the case, then it would not be easy to deal with them. But if they really have such a strong force, why didn't the Netherworld Great Emperor use it immediately? Most of the people were still immersed in shock, and after a while, they finally recovered from the shock, and then they were talking about this matter with each other. The impact on Yang Yu and the others was the biggest. They had a good relationship with Yi Tianyun, but suddenly he became a mansion lord, and it was a very heaven-defying one. The only thing left was for the 3 of them to work together, which was not difficult. With his reputation, a lot of people recognized him as the Mansion Lord. As for the matter of merging, they were also discussing it. When they found out that it was a force established by their ancestor, the feeling of rejection quickly decreased a lot. Spirit King Xian Tian is the first Void Spirit stage cultivator in Heaven's top mansion, so he respects him a lot. So when he was integrated into Heaven's top mansion, the feeling of rejection was reduced a lot. Because they were all on the same side, how could there be any sense of rejection? Yi Tianyun let Shi Shuayun and the others handle the run-in. There were many people in charge of the major affairs of the sect, so he didn't need to worry about it at all. The key was that it would be easier for Shi Shuayun and Yi Yue to manage it. He was only responsible for putting them together and playing as the vanguard. He did not need to worry about the other trivial matters. After giving the instructions, Yi Tianyun found a cultivation room and went into seclusion. He had to start sorting out related matters, such as leveling up. He didn't want to be an idiot and talk to himself. I can finally calm down. Leveling crazy system. Ding, deducting 10 million crazy points, successfully leveled up crazy mode system, effect increased to 16 times. Proficiency increased to 4 times, sin value increased to 2 times, medicinal pill effect increased to 2 times, including any medicinal pill that increases EXP and enhancement. Every minute consumes 10,000 crazy points, the next level is 50 million crazy points. As expected, 8 times became 16 times, and the next level is 32 times. But it requires 50 million crazy points, it's really crazy, he doesn't know how long it will take to level up. But for this multiplier, he will definitely work hard to save up enough crazy points. 32 times increase in strength is simply heaven-defying. Especially now that there are so many effects, he is even more looking forward to the later effects. Double the effect of all medicinal pills, this is a good thing. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. Medicinal pills can double the effect, but it was limited to recovery medicinal pill. It has no effect on cultivation medicinal pill or experience medicinal pill. Now that it is effective, it means that refining a batch of accumulating soul pill can directly double the price. Originally 30 million experience medicinal pill, now it becomes 60 million experience medicinal pill. As for the sin value, there was no need to talk about it. Doubling the sin value was already a pretty good effect. This level up is really worth it. Yi Tianyun took a deep breath, although he expected it, he was still shocked, the effect of 16 times burst out, he really can't imagine what kind of value it will be. Then there was a lot of crazy point left, he used most of it in one breath, first allocated to instant transmission, then allocated to lucky aura, directly used up 1.5 million crazy point. Ding, successfully leveled up instant transmission to level 2, can instantly reach any position within 10 miles, cooldown time is 5 minutes. The next level requires 2 million crazy points. Ding, successfully leveled up luck aura to level 3, after using the luck greatly increased to 15 times, consumes 5,000 crazy points per second, the next level requires 5 million crazy points. Not bad. Not bad, he upgraded both of them, the effect immediately doubled, and the crazy points required also doubled. Now there is not much crazy point left, there is still more than 1 million crazy point left. Overall, it is still a lot, but if used to level up, it is really not much. Now any skill requires too much crazy point, it's not enough at all. In the past, he thought that hundreds of thousands of crazy points was a lot, but now tens of millions is not a lot, he can use it all at once. It seems that I have to continue to earn crazy points, there are too many things that need to be upgraded. Yi Tianyun shook his head and immediately smiled, let's see what is in the gift pack first, this thing will definitely not let me down. You have successfully unlocked the level 51 gift pack. You have received the Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette, one chance to use the Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette, 50% discount in the shop, limited to 2 hours, 50x experience card, level 61 upgrade gift pack. Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette. This time, I got a Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette. It looks like I'll be able to get even more good stuff. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.